Hello, everyone. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Good evening. Good evening to you. Welcome to Jamfet Live. It's a Sunday, but we had to come live because, whole heap of things are going on. Whole heap of things are going on. So, guys, just give me a minute. Let me share out the live. Just a second. I'm doing it. Jermaine, just a second. I'm seeing it. Just a second. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening. Let's see who's in the chat with us. We're talking Olympics tonight, guys. We're talking Olympics, and we want to evoke a certain number of questions. So just share out the live. Just share out the live. We have, Wendy Smith, who is with us. Hello, Wendy. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Your girl Maya is here. Greetings to you, Maya. Welcome. Welcome, one and all. Guys, did you see the 100-meter finals? Did Uno see the 100-meter finals? Chef Andre Davy has joined us. Good vibes, says Chef. Greetings, greetings. Life with Royalty Lifestyles. Greetings to you. Merci d'être venu. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Wendy is saying Tiffany's here. What's up? How are you, Wendy? How are you? Me say, excitement I go on tonight. Just share out the live, guys. Please share out the live. Bring some crowd tonight. We need some crowd in the house. We're going to talk 100 meters. We're going to talk Elaine versus Shelly because something serious are going in a jam door. Did you see that celebration, guys? Like me smell something very fishy. Something is happening in the camp. Tydan official game ethics is here saying greetings. How are you, Tydan? Big up yourself. Chef Andre saying hello to Wendy, Tiffany. Big up yourself. You know, on the chat we can't see the emojis. Like, I don't know why, but it doesn't allow us to see the emojis. I'm passing through, not going to be staying long, says Tydan official. I actually have Trina's Nyamens out of Germany has joined us. Trina, how are you? Wagwan. So I'm going to bring up Jermaine from day one on the platform. We're going to be talking Olympics. We're going to be talking Shelly versus Elaine. Guys, we don't know if you don't see what happened when that celebration went on, but something serious happened. First and foremost, I'm going to introduce my first guest tonight, which is my pot cover. My pot cover and the first guest tonight. Guys, I'm going to knock the pot cover for some big things tonight. Number one, I've hit my 1,000 subscribers. We never got upset tonight. I've hit my 1,000 subscribers. So I'm not my pot cover. Second reason, guys, I've got back my viral video with my 94,000 kills. Yes, me get back my video. Ty Dan saying I've liked and shared the stream. Thank you so much, guys. Remember to share me out on your community. Big things are going on tonight. Big thing. Greetings, everyone, says Trina's Nyamins. Tara J. Blog and Dialogues is here. Blessings to everyone, she says. Wagwan, Tara, Wagwan. Guys, come on, man. Tell me how you live that 100 meter. Who are you rooting for? Hey Trina, I am blessed, brother, says Trina's Yamins. Trina, Wagwan in Germany land. How are you? Tara J, I see you. So all those people who prayed for me, Whitey gave me back my Whitey give me back me what you call it? My video. So I'm celebrating. But guys, who was watching the 100 meters yesterday? Who was watching the 100 meters? So it's obvious that Elaine Thompson, what a performance. Jermaine, I don't know if you're on screen, but I'm not seeing you. Jermaine? Oh, I'm not hearing him. So, oh, Charms Lifestyle is in the building. Charms Lifestyle, greetings to you. Greetings. Greetings. I was rooting for Jamaica, says Tara. So, Tara, are you Team Elaine or Team Shelly? Come on, don't stand on the fence like that. Are you Team Elaine or Team Shelly? Well, it's obvious that most people support Shelly and Fraser. I guess because she's been there longer, she has a nicer personality, always smiling and stuff like that. But it's obvious that she never happy. I mean, yeah, she lost the race, but I thought that she wasn't as gracious as she should have been. Tara said she was supporting Jamaica. Jamaica, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't think he's hearing me. Oh, your microphone is muted. So Tara is trying to say that she was supporting Team Jamaica. Well, I mean, as Jamaicans, we all supported Team Jamaica, but it's obvious that we have our favorites, we have our preferences. Oh, he's saying he's not hearing anything. So hold on, nobody not hear nothing. Exit and come back, Jermaine. Exit and come back and see if it works. All right, so the real Tiffany Nation is here. Big up yourself, Tiffany. Big up yourself. So yeah, I was watching the race. Obviously, I am for Elaine Thompson because I'm from Manchester, and I went to Belfield Primary and I went to Manchester High. So obviously, I have a little preference for Elaine Thompson. But in any event, I really think that it was a glorious moment in Jamaica's history. 1, 2, 3, you know. And to be honest, I was just looking for the 3 Jamaican colors to be in 1, 2, 3. And then we decide, as Star said, you know, who would be first, second, third, whatever. But I really thought that it was disgraceful. The reaction at the end of the race, like, I mean, it's obvious these girls are beefing. It's obvious. And I am wondering if it's okay to, I'm trying to think, you know, because if you don't like somebody, are you really going to go hug up and congratulate somebody for beating you to at something when you don't like the person? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It never looked good. I am here a long time with Wendy Smith. But no, Tiffany, you ever said the real Tiffany has arrived. I'm serious. I wanted the result in any order as long as it's Jamaica, says Stara. That is true. That is true because if Shelly had won or if Sherika had won, I would have been equally as happy, even though I have a preference for Elaine, as you saw in my prediction video. But I would have been equally as happy. But I just thought that that historic moment was ruined. It was ruined because of that celebration. I mean, somebody run an Olympic record, 10 point. Did you guys see what happened at the end of the 100 meters today? Jermaine is not hearing anything. Jermaine, are you hearing now? Try and fix your microphone. Something is obviously wrong. Did you guys see what happened at the end of the 100 meters for men today? The Italian guy, there was one Italian guy who had won the long jump, the high jump. And as soon as the other Italian won the 100 meter. The celebration when they put on, it was so amazing. And I'm like, look at that. We got 1, 2, 3. All Sherika Jackson end up in the beef. How come Sherika Jackson end up in the beef? Because she gets a bronze medal. Obviously, she was like probably the fourth favorite because that Talu girl probably would have expected her to medal. So Sherika should have been happy. She changed over from 400 to 100. So she should have been happy with a bronze medal. Come on. Merlin Otti win bronze and Merlin Otti was still happy with the bronze. Even though she never, you're not pleased, but you're still happy. Thunder Scorpion has entered the building. Shout out to the Jamaican women, but the US American men will take the gold. Shout out to the, Thunder is obviously American. Thunder, the US men did not win. Italy won. Italy got the gold in the men's race. So, Jermaine, your mic is still muted. I can't hear anything. I don't know why you can't hear anything. Maybe you have to leave and come back. Leave and come back. I'm gonna drop the link so if anybody else wants to come up and share their opinion about the race or the celebration, then they're free to come up. So Thunder is greetings host, greetings chat. Welcome Thunder Scorpion. Guys, remember to give me a thumbs up if you're just coming in. I just wanted Jamaica to win, but Shelly never looked pleased, and that's not good enough. That's what I'm saying. If your colleague, let's say for example, you're their work and they're choosing colleague of the year, worker of the year, and you know within yourself that you have a big chance of winning. And if somebody else wins it, aren't you going to celebrate with them? Like, aren't you going to fake it? Even if it's not genuine, you would go over, you would expect the girls to go over and, we don't know, take a picture together. Yes, they did take the picture, but the beefing was so big. It was so big, it ruined it for me. I don't know if it ruined it for anybody else, but for Tara J's blogs and dialogues has entered the chat. I hope Tara can hear me. Can you hear me, Tara?
Yes, I can.
All right, so it's obviously Jermaine having some issue with his device. So Jermaine, I'm gonna take you out of the studio. No, I want you to leave the studio and then you can come back. Tara, I know you're saying Team Jamaica, but surely that wasn't a proud moment. It was ruined for me.
It was not ruined for me. I could see that there were, well, maybe because me aware before, say, whatever.
No, but we all know them.
They
we
were
know that from you.
So maybe because I know that, so, but guess what? Merlin and
you're either a professional or you're not.
Merlin and Cuthbert never friend either. And you could see that, okay, so these people, not bosom buddy. But I also too, and I heard people saying, oh, look at Shelly and Badman. And I think they are really mixing up disappointment with Badman.
Because I don't think no Badman can come in this. That's not the word.
Oh, no, but I'm telling you what I see on the net.
Right.
The most popular thing. And I'm saying, what is wrong with people? The thing is that you see it, but because we have a habit of focusing on the wrong part of it. So you see it, yes, it is there. But are we going to sit and just focus on that part instead of what was accomplished? Because Elaine ran the race of her life up to date. Are we going to sit and just focus on the fact that the two of them are a friend? And then
what she accomplished, she broke one of Flojo's record, which everybody from me I grew up to today, we have always said that Flojo's records were unbreakable. So that is to show you how the magnitude of the accomplishment and the fact that it was done with two other Jamaicans, 1, 2, 3. I remember, I don't even the one that the girls did in 2008. I don't even remember that one as much as I remember the one in London with Usain Bolt and the other two guys. Probably because the third guy wasn't as strong. But the fact that they came in one, two, I just remember that night, the emotional thrill that I got from watching those guys that night, getting the one, two, three. And yesterday, me start jump up and knock my back cover as usual. But then I just found myself stopping because I'm like, why am I just seeing one person on the celebrating? Why are the others not joining in? And but what I'm saying is, do you fake it because the media is watching, or do you just be your genuine person? I don't
And
know.
if you notice, even the media elsewhere is not even focusing on that. And we Jamaicans there, so I think people are amplifying the situation. Yes, them not get along. Yes, them never hug up and jump with them. So what? You understand
Mhm.
me? We understand when people joyful and then come together, but that's not the reality of every situation. And I
Right,
think we need to get over it already and focus on the accomplishment. You understand me? We spend so much time majoring in minor things, and then we lose the whole reason behind why we should be proud. So what if they're not friends? So what if they don't get along? You understand? Because even when they recover, they kept looking at the clock and they kept looking at the
right.
screen. And I think Sharika was there trying to really see if she
Mhm.
really come through with the bronze. And even when they
Right,
finally go and touch Elaine didn't even look up. So
right.
we need to balance the thing. Yes, the man of friend, but I think that is not the focus. We can't
Mhm.
pass that because and I see so many hypocrites come in
Mhm.
and talk about, oh, you should do that. And guys, you all know you weren't going to do that. You know you weren't going to go and hug. Oh, me
Mhm.
not hug her up. You know, many of you know you weren't going to do it
Right.
if you guys are
Because I
not.
mean, we don't know what happened in the camp, but what we do know, they used to train together. Um, Shelly and Elaine at MVP, and then Shelly left the club, came back and left again. So I mean, when you're the star of the club or whatever, then I don't know. People are saying bad man. I don't think it's bad man. I think
It's
at the end of the day,
disappointment. This is
when you're doing an
disappointment. And
Olympic sport like that, you want to be
it
the best.
no,
You
but
you don't get to Olympic level. Yeah, you don't get to Olympic
everybody
level.
that lines up, every one of them that lines up that line, go there to win the race. Everyone. That's what they went there for,
Thunder
to
said, I
win
need
the
to
race.
catch the replay. I didn't see that. Says Thunder Scorpion. They need to keep the sports clean. It's best to keep the rivalry out of the country. We're a small country. But Tiffany is not agreeing at all. They need to put the difference aside for the relay to come. And
No,
then she says,
but
that's
I'm not
true. Right.
saying, for those who are listening, please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they should keep the rivalry going.
Hmm.
However, you and I
No,
can't
rivalry is
control what.
good. Rivalry is good. It's the rivalry that pushed Elaine to a 10.61. So
Yes, because
rivalry
you
is good.
already know, say, me want beat you. Shelly and over there, so want
Yeah,
beat you.
right,
Sharika want to create an upset to come from this so and just
right,
boom. Just like how Shelly came
yeah,
to fore in that
right,
time. And because when Shelly
exactly.
come up last out, none of us expected her to do
None.
that. So
Right. Everybody
everybody
was
who
looking for
lined
her
up
to
at that
perform.
line
Yeah.
went in that race to win. Yes, and this is how I see it. My opinion, people. So for those who are not in agreement, that's fine. But I'm saying, you don't. There's no requirement that says that you have to be bosom buddy and you have to be best friends. You
Right.
have a
Running
job
Egg
to
has joined
do.
the building.
You
Welcome,
line up
Okay,
Running
I'm
at that
hearing
Egg.
you.
line and you do the
T.
job.
Yes, Jermaine, I'm hearing you now. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. Jermaine is joining us for the first time, but he's a lover of track and field. So it's
All right,
going to be good to hear his
I'm going to
perspective.
go and allow Jermaine to speak.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much for that perspective. So, Jermaine, welcome,
hmm
brother.
Most welcome as well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
So, just picking up, teacher, please send blessings to everyone in the chat. Tiffany Nation is also here, running egg. Greeting Tiffany Nation. So, Jeremy, what's your take on, first of all, the feud, and then we probably can talk about the performances. Because everybody wants to
Um,
talk about the beef.
all right, the beef. I'm thinking you're talking about the beef between Elaine and Shelly.
Right.
I have no problem with it, as long as it does not affect in totality. It does not affect the relay. To be honest with you, I have no problem with it because that's what I like to see. I'm one of those old school sports persons, so I like that level of rivalry. The fact is, they can still show respect to each other, which they have done. I mean, Elaine has respected Shelly. Shelly has respected Elaine. They respect the accomplishment.
Shelly did release a tweet today congratulating Elaine and
Right.
trying to play the situation a bit.
And I shared it, but it's no difference than the beef that was between, say, a Merlene Otti and a Juliet Cuthbert. You know, it happens, especially with the Jamaican woman. This is something that's been happening since God knows how long. And the rivalry also stems from, and there are other rivals, because there's the Sherika versus Stephanie and McPherson thing. So when you come from a camp, and I think I must give a comment for Oral Tracy for saying this, you can't have the two best athletes in the world in the same camp. It's going to cause more negative than positive, because we have the same coach and our coach is training us to beat each other. That's going to be a problem. And you have to remember, when Shelly came on the scene, she kind of pushed Sharon to the back burner. Elaine came on the scene and kind of did almost the same thing with Shelly. So you're going to always have that. We saw it with Melanie and Khalees. We saw it with Khalees and Genevieve. It happens. So I have no problem with the beef in that sense of saying, listen, I think I'm better than you. You think you're better than me. It is what it is.
Yeah, rivalry which pushes you to do your best is not a problem. But I think what people have a problem with is the image that it gives, to those watching. I mean, the rest of the world probably didn't pick up on it because I don't really see it in the media as much. But like the Jamaican comments, like going through Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, it was all about the celebration,
And I think I think what people are doing is they're overplaying it. And I say it for this reason. Shelly, in her mind, thought she could have won that race and should have won that race. That's probably what's going on in her head. You have to remember that the only person that can legitimately say in 13 years of Shelly's career, the only person that can say I have beaten a healthy Shelly and Fraser is Elaine Thompson. There's no other person who can say when it matters the most, I have beaten a healthy Shelly and Fraser. Whether it is at the Jamaica trials.
Because even the last World Championship, I think people were probably expecting Elaine, coming out, she's Olympic champion, whatever.
No, you see, for me, I'm going to be honest. I made a comment a few days before the finals, and I said I trust Sherika Jackson more than I trust Elaine. Not because I am doubting Elaine's speed. I think when fit, Elaine is the best sprinter the world has ever produced. I've questioned Elaine's mentality. Because I know people talk about the Achilles and you don't run 1073.
Because people are saying it's based on what is coming out of Elaine's camp, is that people were questioning her mentality, not just about her competitive mentality, but that she might.
No, I'm not even talking about that, because I'm talking about her competitive mentality, and I will call a spade a spade.
Right.
You don't run 1073 in the heats in Doha, and then come to the finals and crumble. That's not an Achilles injury. That's a mental problem. Right? It happened in 2017 again. Now, what people have been saying, probably myself included, is that, listen, when she faces against someone who challenges her, she crumbles. And she wouldn't be the first, because let us be real. We've seen this from somebody like Asafa Bright and Asafa Powell, Khalees Spencer. We've seen this before. She had a good run in.
Look at Elaine, Shelly, and she's the nicest person, but when you can see she put on her game face when it's the start.
Right.
Like you see the lion in her raging.
Right.
Elaine is always a bit laid back, a bit too calm.
Elaine is somebody I would play. I would not want to play poker with, because I can't read her.
Yeah.
I will never be able to read her. You know, so you look at her and you go, okay, she gives you the thing about it that I think hurts people, especially somebody like myself who loves the sport and loves seeing people at their best, is like I said, we know how good Elaine is. This is not a question of her standard. Is the same thing with a lot of us with Asafa Powell. It is when it matters, what am I
Yes.
going to get? When you go into a final and Shelly's fit, you know exactly what you're going to get. And let me say this for the viewers who are watching. That 1074 by Shelly is the fastest she has ever run in an Olympic finals.
Mhm.
Right? So people may not remember that, but that 1074 into a headwind is the fastest Shelly has run in an Olympic finals. And this is coming from 3 prior Olympics and winning 2.
Some people say
So
she
that
stumbled at the start of this one. I didn't see it, but
if it was a stumble, it was a minor stumble. Let me call it what it is. If you watch the race, Shelly got a regular Shelly and Fraser start. Shelly's start has not been 2008, 2009.
right.
I think because she's working more on speed distribution. So that's why people think she has gained really a top end. She hasn't gained a top end. What she has done is she's distributed her speed so well that she
Right.
doesn't crumble in the last 30.
Right.
But her start is still going to be better than everybody else because it was better than everybody else to begin with. You don't lose that.
But that
What
was
happened
probably
with
Elaine's best start as well.
that is it. When you watch that race, when Shelly got up, Elaine was right beside her. Up to 50, they were neck and neck, and you saw Shelly try to go into her next gear, and Elaine would not budge.
Right.
And that was the thing, because when it came down to that, it was when I saw that race and I saw Shelly get out, I never questioned Shelly after that. My question was, is Elaine going to buckle?
Right.
Or is she going to find the next gear? Because up to 50, when you saw them neck and neck with each other, that was the battle. Shelly pushed, and you saw she make that push and get about an inch on Elaine. And then Elaine just go in a third gear, if you want to call it. And Shelly just realized, listen, I'm not going to catch that.
But
I'm not going to
Elaine
catch
was
that.
very relaxed as well. I've never.
And that is it. That was the most perfect race I have ever seen from Elaine Thompson. And it gives credence to Stephen Francis. And I think we have to give him his credit. I said that Stephen Francis is a walking genius. When he said to you in June, this is the best I have ever seen Elaine, a lot of people after the national championships laughed at him. Like they were saying, Fran will lose it. He said from June, this is the best I have seen Elaine. Well, 1061 into a headwind, you know, is
our hand up at least 7 meters.
Yeah, you see that and you go, oh my God, you can't complain. And let us be real. And I saw somebody make the comment a while ago, Shelly-Ann's reign is over. Let us clarify this. Shelly would have had to run 10.5 to win that race, no matter what.
Right.
Because we know Elaine could have given you a next gear.
Right.
Shelly would have had to run 10.5 to win that race. You're really asking a lot right there. Let's just call a spade a spade. Shelly is the queen. She's the greatest of all time. She probably will go down as the greatest of all time because unlike Elaine, she doesn't really have a failure on her resume. Right? She doesn't really have a failure on her resume. But Elaine is a far superior sprinter. Technically.
Yeah, because
she has no weakness.
Speed is even superior to Flo Jo's. Her top end speed. She goes fast when she's at max.
She has no weakness to her game. And
I don't know. I just love seeing her because everything just looks so smooth and it's like almost like Sharon Simpson. You just knew that these athletes, they just sprint in such a perfect way.
I've said this before. I said if I was training or coaching someone in the sprints, and I said, I'm going to give you a videotape of the most technically gifted male sprinter and the most technically gifted female sprinter, I will give you a video of Asafa Powell and Elaine Thompson at their best. That is how good they are. And I think that is something that we have to give credence for. So going back to the whole essence of the beef, I think it's just a matter of just competitive nature. It is just both are great competitors, and I think regardless of anything, they both had a chip on their shoulder.
Right.
They both had, and you have to call it what it was. Elaine had many people, including myself, were doubting her as to could she pull it off. Shelly was chasing history again.
Right.
They both had a chip. What happened was Elaine pulled off what many have called the new world record.
Yeah.
That's what it took, And like I said, you have to give credence to Shelly because at 34 in 4 Olympics, this is the fastest she has ever run in an Olympic finals. Not her fastest championship.
I
We know she
think
has done
she's
10
definitely disappointed, especially given that she ran the 10-6
six,
recently.
right?
And I mean,
But
she ran. What did she run in the semifinals?
10:73,
Right. So
looking
and
easy,
she
looking
looked
very
good.
easy.
She looked easy at the 10:73. So I don't know if it's because she's soft. Because I mean, Elaine neck to neck with her at 60 meters. Elaine will win. So I don't know
Right,
if she
exactly.
lost her composure there because I would have expected her to push a little longer. But
I'm I'm going to call it what it is, right? Shelly, and this is what I'm seeing. This is just from my perspective.
which wasn't enough, says Thunder Scorpion. You can clearly see it. I think talking about Shelly.
All right. One of the things I would say about this with that race was you saw Shelly give up. Like it wasn't a matter of, she couldn't have run faster. We know she could have run faster. But you saw when she saw Elaine get ahead of her, she was like, hell no. That kind of go on.
Yeah, yeah.
That was what it was. And
I mean, it
because of
happens
that,
to us too. When we're running and we see we now win again, we just shut
yeah,
it off.
exactly. We just shut it off. Granted, she held it
That's
together
what
because
touching on the
Sherika was
music,
coming.
saying she's disappointed. She's a perfectionist.
That's what it is. Listen. I think if Shelly had run 10:64 and Elaine ran 10:61, she'd have felt better.
Right.
The problem was, or if she had gone out and was ahead of Elaine and Elaine had to catch her, she would have probably felt better. The fact is, she couldn't. She had improved so much in her race, and she still couldn't shake her.
Right.
It was a matter of accepting.
And she saw her national record and the Olympic record falling as
right.
well.
Exactly. You literally,
And
as the greatest female
a lot
sprinter,
that she had
just
to do at that point.
you put it this way: you, as the greatest female sprinter, literally just saw your legacy being shot right in front of your face.
Right.
Right. Not saying that we're not going to say Shelly isn't the greatest female sprinter, but you literally saw your entire legacy being taken away from you in 10.61 seconds because Elaine has now been the second person to win, the back-to-back from Jamaica, 4 Olympics, 4 gold medals, 2 people split that.
And at 29, she's going to be what? She's going to be what? 32?
She'll be 32 at the next Olympics.
By the time Paris comes around.
Right. No, here the thing about that is in 3 years' time, you never know what is going to happen because there's going to be a Sha'Carri Richardson. You don't know who is the next runner-up in Jamaica because one thing about Jamaica is every year an Olympic come around, we always have that one person. We had Shelly in 08, 2012 was the same set, but we had Shelly in 08. 2016, Elaine came up. This year, Sherika. Sherika is also 2 years younger than Elaine. And I have said I think Sherika has the best top end speed of all 3, strictly because she's stronger than all of them. Right? If Sherika can get her start
3 years down the road, you have to contend with Brianna and the twins.
Right? You have also the likes of the Ashanti.
That is like frightening.
And then you have even the likes of an Ashanti Moore, who is getting stronger and stronger. You have, I don't know what's going to happen with a Kevona Davis, but you have so many people who are in the pool waiting. You have a Kemba Nelson. Let us not forget somebody like her, who is a brilliant starter. So you have all of these people who are literally in the wings waiting. Trust me, it's a good look for us. And like I said, internationally, you do have the Shakaris because I think I can speak for every Jamaican when I say this. We wanted Shakari in that race.
We want, yeah, that's true. We want,
We wanted her in that.
Exactly. I mean, I was happy when I saw Talu running those good times.
Right.
But you could see that she was not really. She was almost at her maximum. You could sort of see
after the let me tell you when I knew this was up. When I saw the first round and I saw her run 10:78, and I look at her cadence, I look at her stride pattern, I look at her arm movement, I went, she literally just gave us her finals.
Right.
Now, granted, it still wouldn't have been good enough to medal because Sharika ran 10:76. Right. Then I saw her in the heat in the semifinal with Sharika, and she blazed out and gave you 10:79, and Sharika was right beside her, looking at her, laughing. You could literally see, like, I don't think if anybody remembers 2016 with Andre DeGrasse and Usain Bolt in that 200, when DeGrasse was running and Bolt was looking at him like, "Boy, what you doing?" It was kind of the same thing with Sharika and Talu. Like, Sharika was like, "Why is this girl even doing all of this?"
Somebody's challenging, Jermaine. Somebody's challenging you for saying that Elaine's career was snatched away in front of her, saying that's a bit too much.
No, all right. When for the person who says that, let me say this. I'm not saying that Shelly's career was snatched in front of her. I am just saying that everything that she was chasing was literally taken from her.
Right.
Because you're talking about going for that third gold medal. You're talking about her being the fastest woman alive.
Yeah.
You understand? Let's be real. Carmelita Jetta held
gold 100 has never happened.
Right. Right. Carmelita Jetta held
record has never happened.
You understand? So all the accomplishments that Shelly was chasing was taken from her in that moment. Right? The Flojo record, the fastest woman alive. Jetta held the title as fastest woman alive for 13 years or 12 years. Shelly held it for 2 months.
Yeah, that's I mean, I think that if Elaine had won and not got that 10-6,
right,
Shelly would probably have felt better because I mean she could have said she's the only Jamaican to have run 10-6.
No. Even if she had gotten 10-6, but not 10-61, say she went 10-66 or 10-64, you know, you'd probably go, all right, I'm still faster than you on my best day.
But you have done that 10-63 2 months ago, and it was seen as something so historic.
It was.
And to have that beaten less than 2 months. But I mean, but after the trials, maybe not me, because, you know, we come from Manchester High, we're going to always support me. But Elaine didn't look good at the trials at all. You know, people were not even expecting her to medal. One of my friends who loves track and field and follows track and field a lot, saying that Elaine was going to finish 5th or 6th, you know?
No, anybody who thought Elaine was going to get less than 2nd, especially after her 10:71, would be smoking what Shakari was smoking.
Yeah.
Right? The battle was, and I say this to people, in June we were talking about the greatest race in Olympic history. And by the end of July, we were saying what was going to stop a Jamaican clean sweep. That's literally what it transpired to be. Because when Shelly ran 10:63 and won the trials and Elaine didn't look good, but Elaine came back and ran 10:71, even though we knew Shelly didn't go all out in that race, the Elaine 10:71 looked good. So it now became, okay, this is going to be a battle to the wire. Right? And that's what it was seeming up to be. And for 70 to 75 meters, that's what it was.
But let's talk about Sharika Jackson, because she looked disappointed as well. I mean, people were saying the upset could happen, but for some reason, Sharika didn't seem as pleased with her bronze medal.
No, I don't think she was disappointed. Let me say this. I can't say that someone is disappointed when she ran her PB. Not only did she run her PB, she ran her PB in the finals. Not only did she run her PB in the finals, she was beaten by the 2 greatest female sprinters of all time.
Right.
You know, 100. So, and then people need to remember this. When Sharika switched to the 100, her goal was to run 10:94. That was her goal. To run 10:94.
Right. So she has made a lot of progress as well over a short time.
Right. And just a side note, Fred Curley did it, Usain Bolt did it, Sharika did it. as a side note, and for everyone who's listening, Chris Taylor needs to do the same thing, but put that
Mm.
another side, right? But
Talking about Christina,
Sharika,
and the men in a minute.
yeah, man. But I think when you look at Sharika after the race, she looked at herself and she was kind of you. People said it was disappointment. I think it was more of her being like, wow, you know, she's not a
Mm.
very emotional person if you see her per
Yeah,
se.
that is true. But even when she
But
ran the 400, she never looked pleased ever either. So,
right, ever. I mean, she ran her PB in 2 years ago when that miracle, that great race went down between Nasir and Weibo. She ran
mm,
49.4 and looked disappointed, which was her
yeah,
PB.
yeah,
And
that's
I'm
true.
like,
Michael has entered the chat. Triangle says that will be answered in the 200. Sassy Diva has entered the building as well.
mm.
Yeah.
Let me say this, by the way. I do have Sharika to win the 200.
All right.
I have Sharika to win the 200. Regardless of how great
Well,
Elaine
she's
is, we
going to
know
have to
Elaine is
run
great.
21.5.
Let me tell you why I say that.
Great.
1076 and 49.4 speed, 49.4 strength and 1076 speed is dangerous because she would actually be, in how you want to put it, the fastest collectively 100 to 400 person to run a 200.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because even though Alison Felix has a faster
I
PB,
saw her make Shawnee Miller look ordinary like a month ago.
Because let's be real, she's the only person that if she gets ahead of Shawnee cannot catch because she's not going to die.
Right.
Because of that 400 meter strength. And if you check the history of the 200 meters, for the most part, the strong survives the best.
Right, the 400 meter, especially after so many rounds as well.
Right. If you have good,
that's what happened to Oti in '96, against Perec, because Oti was at the top of her game at that.
Top of her game, and the 400 person with good speed is going to beat you, right? And even if it's a 1-2 person, check their 400 background. Like you saying about, like a Tyson Gay, they are not people to smirk at over 400.
Right.
Like we said, you're saying about over 400 is the biggest what if in track and field history right about now.
Sassy says, no, she's not going to win. Talking about Sherika Jackson. Mila Weibo is going to be in it too. Michael says it's dangerous. I think she might win it, but Shelly's going to come on hard in the 200. I don't think, well, it's going to be.
I have Shelly for 5th in that 200.
It's going to be very difficult for Shelly.
I have Shelly for 5th in that 200, strictly because I have Sharika and Elaine to be battling for 1st and 2nd. I will never discount Shawnee Miller-Weibo, even though she's not in the best shape. And Gabby Thomas, we still cannot overlook 1061, 2161. Regardless of how you want to put it, 2161 is 2161. And if you want to talk about a fast track, and Eugene was fast, well, Tokyo is fast as well.
Tokyo is fast.
So it is what it is.
You really put it Shelly and for 5th. It's going to be difficult for Shelly. I mean, Shelly is 34, and the 400 runners are coming into the 200.
Let us call a spade a spade.
Thomas, it's going to be very difficult for Shelly to medal.
We love Shelly. I'm a big Shelly fan. Anybody who knows me knows that. But call a spade a spade. Shelly is going up against 4 better runners over that distance. Yes, she has run 21.79. Yes, she looks good. But you can say that you can obviously see that Sharika is getting better. Elaine has a PB of 21.66. Gabby is 21.61 this year, and Shawnee is Shawnee.
That's why I'm thinking you might need a 21.5 on that track to win the 200 meters.
Yeah. It's going to come down to that because I do see Elaine trying to go for that at least 21.4. And she's going to.
Hold on, just a minute. Don't want to chat run away and left me. Shelly's going to come out hard in the 200, says Michael. Sassy says she will be on the podium, but she's not going to win. Michael, a bit disappointed with that 5th. EZW saying hello to everyone in the chat and upstairs on the platform. Jermaine, you are right. 10 more seconds, she might have beaten Shelly in the 100, says Triangle. Speaking about Shelly.
I think he means 10 more meters. Yeah, but yeah.
10 more meters, yeah. Don't put her down to fifth. She always come out on top when people put her down. Says Sassy. That's about Shelly. All right, Tiffany, etc. Okay.
All right.
So,
Let me say this. Let me say this and clarify this again. I am not disrespecting Shelly and Fraser, and I still do believe that she probably might PB in that final.
Trev
I am
Essence
just
entered as well. Big up yourself, Trev. Greetings.
I'm
All right,
I'm
continue.
just saying that, and she might PB in that finals. I'm just saying that if she medals, it would be great. But I do see 4 people being able to run better, faster than her.
Shawnee will medal. I think it might be just it's hard to say, but I think Shawnee will be there. Elaine Thompson will obviously be there, and Sherika Jackson will be there.
Will be there.
I don't
And
see
like
Elaine really.
And like I said, you
She's gonna have to
can't
come
write
off
off.
the curve with a clear 5-6 meter lead.
But even if she comes off the curve, they're all stronger than her. This is not a 150.
Right.
This is a 200. We saw what happened when she ran against Shawnee and came off the curve in front.
Right.
Shawnee run her down like a little baby. And like I said,
entered the building. Hello, sweet pea, welcome. Triangle says that Shelly is looking a bit tired, and Sassy saying she is entitled to be tired. No one.
Yeah,
No, we know you'll never disrespect your own. Okay, I'm still declaring 1, 2, 3 in the 300, says Sassy. And Triangle says, I was rooting for my girl Elaine. She brought it home. We're happy. It's going to be another 1, 2, 3 in the 200.
Listen, I like everybody would love for that 1, 2, 3 in the 200. You know, it would be the first in history that one country would have swept both the 100 and 200 at the same Olympics. So
that would be
I would love for that one. I would love for that 1, 2, 3. But I am
Miller
not.
is looking good as usual.
Exactly.
She's not running the 400 now, so she has all her.
Everything is going into that. And like I said, you can't count out Gabby.
Is she running the 400, Gabby?
No, man. Gabby's only running the 200. That's her only race. Yeah, and so, she hasn't run since the US trials.
They're going to be fresher. It's going to be difficult for Shelly.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Right? And like I said, this is not the national trials. Elaine, obviously, is in great shape. Sherika, I think, is getting better and better every race that she runs. So even if Shelly goes and says, I'm going to drop 21.71, that would be an amazing time. It just would probably be the fastest time to never medal. You know, that's probably what it's going to be.
People are supporting their Shelly, and it's not going to happen. We are praying for it. Sashibu has entered as well. Hello, Sashibu Diva. Welcome. Oh, guys, for those of you who might not know, YouTube did reinstate my video, my 94K video, so I've got that back. So yeah, just to keep you updated with what's going on. Michael says Elaine is in great shape. Empress has entered. Empress says, what time are the next race, people? The Empress, I don't understand anything. The coverage in France has been terrible. Like they didn't even show the rounds of the 100. Or
all right. So let me answer that. If you're in Jamaica, we begin at 7 p.m. our time, which would probably be in Europe, in England, British time, 7 p.m. 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Right. So it's 7 p.m. and tonight is the first round, or the next session of the Olympics that will be going on, which would be the morning session in England.
And because you know what, that was confusing me as hell, because like people were saying, oh, the Olympics start Thursday. I'm like, Olympics start Thursday, so all along I thought it started Friday. Now I realize that we are so far ahead.
Right, it is very fast. So
the
next session will bring about the women's first round for the 200. And the funny thing is, the women will be running the 200 in the same day. So they'll be running the first round and the semifinals in the same day.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then I think they get a break in between and then run the finals. The women's 100-meter hurdles finals will be in the first session, which would be in the morning.
Right.
So you can look forward to those. Right. So you can look forward to as well as the men's long jump final. And we don't know if Tajay is going to be jumping. I think what has been said is that he is the person that's going to determine if he jumps or not. The medical staff had advised that he doesn't jump.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, he's the one that's
He
going to
picked up an
determine that.
injury? I didn't see that. He picked up an injury?
Yes, if he, by the way, he could barely even, let me say this, and I will say this carefully. Tajay Gale is the person, if I'm going to war, I want him beside me. He picked up he was been injured all year with his knee, his right knee. It obviously was hampered in the second jump in the qualifying round. He jumped 6.7 meters or 6.27 meters in the second round, could barely get out the pit. He was actually had to be dragged out the pit. Took his break, taped his knee, came back out, jumped 1 centimeter shy of the automatic qualifying standard, which made him fourth overall going into the finals, and still had to and crawled out the pit. So he literally on an injured knee just went one jump, qualified, and came out the pit.
Yes, I think it's a question of do you damage yourself and the rest of your career, or do you save yourself?
I would say at 24 years old and with a short turnover cycle this time, because the next Olympics will be in 3 years, it was up to me.
You call it off.
Yeah, man. Go home, fix yourself, and come back again.
All right. Sassy is saying we're supporting Jamaica. Wonderful. Congrats to Jamfet. The video. Jamfet, I received the thing. Okay. Empress said she received the prize from last giveaway. Come here and work with TVJ.
No, I don't work with TVJ, but I follow it intensely. Plus, I have a lot of friends who are in the sport.
You don't work with TVJ
yet. Listen, I'm too old for that now. I'm
Michael, you work with Jamfet. What's wrong with you?
Thank you very much.
Sassy Diva says it's 5 a.m. in Jamaica and the 7 p.m.
Right. So the 7 p.m. Jamaica time is when you will have the races that I just mentioned, which is the 400, the 200 meters, as well as the 100 meter hurdles. So that will be in the 7 p.m. session.
All right, Sasha's saying I'm at work. I can't type everyone's name. Jamfet, I got my prize as well. Says Michael, Wendy's hailing, Sasha Boo. Taya's Kitchen has entered as well. Big up yourself, Taya. Jamfet, you're not up on the IG to get in the schedule. I am, but remember, I am in France. So, like, for us, the morning session for us is like midnight, 3 o'clock.
Right.
And then the finals is like 10, 11 o'clock. So it was a bit confusing. Sassy said, me feel it for him. Me mash up, says Sassy. You will jump with the strap. All right.
It's 8:40, not 8:41, Sassy. 8:40.
That's the 2 automatic. What were you watching it on Jamaica? Yeah, so how is the coverage in Jamaica? You're in Jamaica?
Yes, I am. It is excellent, to be honest with you. It is excellent. So
we can't follow TVJ in France because they don't have the right in France.
They don't have the rights to carry it over there.
So man, even today when the semifinals of the hurdles were going on, they were showing us sword fight. That's how
fencing.
Terrible.
But the thing about it in Jamaica is that we literally at this point have 24-hour coverage. So for TVJ, for TVJ SN, it's literally showing the Olympics non-stop. So you're seeing all the events. But Jamaica being such a strong track and field country, you know, so when track start, it's just all about track and field. So we get to see everything. We really do get to see everything. So that's a good.
What about the men now? Because for the first time in forever, there's no male sprinter. There was no male sprinter because the race ran.
And America still couldn't win.
America still couldn't win. What's happening to
Listen, I
discuss America. I don't know what's going on in America either, but
I think I can speak on both of them.
What's going on with Johan Blake?
Johan Blake picked up an injury in training about a couple of days ago, according to what he said. And you saw him when he came out with the strapping on his knee. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I have great respect for Johan, one of my favorite athletes. In my mind, he's the second greatest Jamaican sprinter of all time. But that injury that he suffered in 2014, because, you know, he got one in 2013 and then the follow-up in 2014, that derailed him. And he's no longer the Johan Blake of old. It really does mess him up. It's a career end. It was a career-ending injury. So for him to come back and make 3 major finals immediately, finishing 4th in 2 and 5th in 1, I can say he's just served Jamaica proud. And I think he himself knew that this was it. You know, he knew his body couldn't take it.
Not the semifinals, the round before the semifinals.
Right.
Or the quarterfinals. And, you know, I was watching him. He wanted his body to do what he was doing years ago. Like he was trying to win the race and relax. But it just wasn't happening. It just wasn't responding.
You know, R. Kelly said, my mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes. Well, for him, it's the opposite. You know, his mind is telling me yes, but his body is saying no. And that, for me, is indicative of, listen.
But I mean, a lot of people are disrespecting him. Some people are saying too big. Some people are, like, a lot of comments about him, not really taking into consideration his injuries and stuff.
Let me say this for a lot of people who are complaining about him being too big. I also do agree that he's too big. But a lot of people don't understand this. On his right, is it his right or his left hamstring, there's actually no muscle. It's artificial. So he has to pad it. So therefore, he has to do a lot of gym work. Regardless of how you want to do gym work, your upper body is going to put on a lot of muscle as well.
Right.
So thus he keeps putting on that muscle. So he's not able to get the stride that he used to have back in the day and to be able to pull away. So the injury, like I said, it was a career-ending injury. He has come back and at best run 9.90, which was the best he ran since the injury. He's run sub 10 every competitive year since the injury, since coming back from the injury. So listen, this man is a servant of Jamaican sprinting. Only Usain Bolt.
Which club is he training now?
He's with Michael Frater.
Okay.
Michael Frater is his coach. He left racers and he's over there. So he's over there.
Some people also are questioning the decisions of some of the athletes to change camp and stuff. Like even
some
Shelly
decisions were good.
MVP and Johan who changed from Glenn Mills and stuff like that. So
let me say this. Anybody who questions Shelly's ability, Shelly's change, needs to go back and just leave track and field alone. Because if you change your coach and you run 10.63 and 21.7 at 34, arguably your second to last year in the sport, that change probably should have happened 4 years before it did. Let's call it what it is. So the change for some isn't bad. The change for some is, like I said, it doesn't matter who you're.
Veronica Campbell was using her husband and her results weren't going well.
Veronica's husband was coaching her from about 2013. Veronica Campbell was a medalist in 2015 in the World Championships in the 200 meters, and made the finals. But people forget, in 2016, Veronica was 34 years old and has been running competitively for 17 years.
Right.
You basically say from 1999 to 2016, Veronica was
old on your body after a while. I mean,
right.
In any sport, like 35 is old in any sport. I don't know.
In any sport.
You know?
So imagine you doing this from you're a teenager at the highest level. Veronica went to her first Olympics at 18 years old. You know, she's been at the top of the game, and she had a hectic high school career. She had a hectic collegiate career and had a hectic professional career.
Right.
And she gave us basically 15, 16 years of work. So, you know, some of the changing of coaches don't work. Some athletes do need a change of coach. I think Shelly's change of coach worked. I just think it was about 3 years too late. And we knew because she wanted to change from before she got pregnant.
Left again.
Right. Exactly. So from about 2016, she wanted to leave. So we knew that. But going back to the men, and I see the comment here, was the triangle says
the jump for joy when they didn't win. Well, who didn't win? When the men didn't win?
When the American men didn't win. I'm guessing she's talking the American men.
Okay.
For the Jamaican men, let me say this. Every team goes through transition.
On the screen? Somebody's asking, who's that on the screen? It's Jermaine, my track and field analyst. He does have a YouTube channel. You don't have a YouTube channel, Jermaine?
Yeah, no, I don't do it on YouTube.
His YouTube channel.
So I've been told I should, but
yeah,
time.
most of them pick up injury over there. I don't know him. His name is Jermaine. All right, Empress, yeah, check out my guest, man. So they're digging up your knowledge, Jermaine. Thank you so much for joining us. Lots of people this Johan Blake for true. I was saying that in too thick. Him they look really chaka.
No, he got big, but
everything they just look. I was embarrassed.
He got big, but it wasn't his own fault. And I think people need to understand that when you have to create cushion for your muscles, you have to go into the gym and create more muscles. Like I said, it is impossible for him to only work out his lower body. Your upper body going to get some. So he ended up being thick, not by choice, right? But it happened.
But in the sprint, but thickness shouldn't really affect you that much, should it?
It does. If you are too big, it does. Because we even saw at one point it affected Asafa Powell and he had to cut down.
Right.
You know, it does. But the thing about it as well is what people don't understand is it is easier to shed when you're young.
Right. Oh, that's for sure. Sass is saying that is true, and a lot of people don't know. That's why they're always bashing him. And him is just a little TV gym. And like, them love you, my Jamie.
Thanks. Big up on yourself.
All right, she's confirming that it was USA she did that. Not
bashing though. And at 31, Johan Blake is 31. He was never going to shed as quickly, right? So because he's not able to shed, he's always going to be bulking up because you have to do that consistently. So I think what we should do is celebrate him for what he's done. Let's be real. There's no other Jamaican sprinter apart from Usain Bolt and maybe Don Quarry if you want to put him in there. Right. That can walk in Johan Blake's shoes. The second fastest in both sprints, double Olympic silver, 2 Olympic gold medals, a world championship gold, the youngest world champion. And this was done within a 3-4 year span.
Disappointed that he was the heir apparent and it never really happened for him. But I mean, the injury did affect him a lot. That's for sure.
But let me say this: with all the credit I am giving him, I do blame Johan for his own downfall.
Right.
A co-worker of mine who was a member of the Glen Mills coaching staff and actually the UE coaching staff back at that time. Johan Blake was told after his injury in 2013 to sit down for 2014 season to get himself back. Because if a lot of people don't remember this, after his injury in 2013, he got better, went to the World Relays and ran the fastest 4x2 split ever. When Jamaica broke the world record for the 4x2 without Usain Bolt. He literally came back into shape and then he got injured again. He was told by his coach to sit down. It was his own determination and drive to want to beat Bolt that caused his downfall. And if he had probably taken that year off, and I think in his mind, he probably regrets not taking the year. Because if he had taken the year off, he would have come back in 2015 and Bolt probably would not have won in 2016.
Because that happened to Elaine. Did Elaine pull out at the last championship? Like she ran the 100, never do well, and didn't.
And never run the 200, and she call it a day.
Call it a season then.
But you see, the thing is, the women tend to be more to listen more, and they tend to be more trusting of the coach than the men are. And when you get to a certain level, remember at one point, like we said, this man was the heir apparent. When you get to a certain level, really, your coach cannot tell you nothing either. And this is.
I remember an interview that he did once, and he was saying that he already ran 19.2, and he can do it again. He's young.
Right.
I remember an interview he did saying that, like he was saying, the coach don't really matter.
Exactly. And one of the things I will say to a lot of these sprinters is this. There's a reason your coach is your coach. No one thinks Glenn Mills can go out there and run 19.1, but he coached the man who did. Nobody thinks Stephen Francis can go out there and run 9.7, but he coached a man who did. Right. They are coaches for a reason, Absolutely. So because they are coaches, they understand something that you don't understand, and that is why it's not all great players make great coaches. Right?
Definitely.
Somebody has to guide you. And I think his problem was he's probably the only Jamaican whose hunger and drive was his downfall.
Right.
I'm telling you straight up. We'll call
Yeah,
a spade a
because
spade.
they said that he trained harder than Bolt, you know, like he was
Right?
as
That's how he got the name the beast. You know? So I do say let us respect what he's done for Jamaica.
Become Christian and lost the beast in him.
I don't think, boy, but the Christian come after the beast did get destroyed still. So I'm not really. It's after the injury the Christian come.
As says, me love him regardless of what people saying about him.
Yeah, man.
Because me I follow him from high school, and he will always be one of the best. And that caused a rift between him and racers, she says.
Yeah, so he's really. I think we need to respect him and respect what he's done. But when it comes to the future, I'm going to say two things. Number one, obliques. I don't know if anybody knows what a Build-A-Bear is. You know, you go to the workshop and they give you the outlet, and then you add everything to it to build your perfect teddy bear.
Okay.
When I look at Oblique Civil, that's what I see. Oblique Civil has no muscle mass. Oblique Civil has no top end. Oblique Civil has nothing but raw talent.
It's just a rough,
It's a rough work.
Rough diamond that needs a bit of polishing.
You put him in the gym for the next year or two. You work on his top end, give him some 200s and 400s to run, to work on his endurance. He already has a good start, already has decent first 50 technique. In a couple of years, Oblique Civil will easily be one of the greatest sprinters in the world.
I see you look like you know enough, man. Come January. Says, I love Civil, he will be there eventually. But where are the male medals coming from? If Tajay is injured, where
on the men's side,
from on the men's side, and what on the men's relay? What disaster that was?
I've avoided.
That medal, or I don't know what happened.
I have really avoided talking about that mixed relay because number one, let me get the elephant out the room. Our 400-meter men, for the most part this year, is not top class, and the reason I say this is this. When we won the silver 2 years ago, we had a second tier that we could have used that were good enough to run a mixed relay, like a Javon Francis and whatnot. This year, we don't have that luxury. So what you find out is because we only have a small amount of athletes that are decent, not even good, just decent, they were running the individuals the next day. They decided not to run. For the women's side, it's the same scenario, where none of the 400 women were deciding that they were going to run. And
you can't, is it that you can't do both relays?
No, you can run both.
Well, I guess they would be interested because the 400 heats haven't started. So
right. So for the men, understandably, they wouldn't be interested. And I think a lot of the men are also putting all their bundles into that 4x4. I think we do have a chance to medal in the men's 4x4.
Right.
And they're putting all their eggs in that, so they don't want to overwork themselves.
Sassy says he's young, he's coming off injury. Jackie Baker has joined us saying, well, it is so true. And Sassy saying maybe the 100-meter hurdles. Maybe we can get
I have one of the men to medal in the 110-meter hurdles.
Do you think they should have taken Omar Maxwell?
No.
You don't think
no.
he had a case?
No. And it is simply this. First of all, let me address the issue. I think Omar is being very disingenuous. Call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
Love
but
Omar,
we're not very known for taking care of our champions either.
No, it's not about taking care of your champions. Remember, Shelly and Fraser, Elaine Thompson, and Sherika Jackson ran 5 rounds in 4 days, including having to come the morning, and 2 of them ran their PB in that morning session on Sunday. The other men that
a more technical event, which is true.
Which is true.
I mean, for anybody who never did a morning time, they're not gonna get the best version of me. Like I don't exist before 1 o'clock. Like
that is the same thing with me. I have to be at work at certain hours in the morning, and I'm still not my best until about 12 o'clock.
Right.
But for me, why I say it is this. It is not a disrespect to Amar. You knew the schedule at least 2 weeks before because the schedule was online. I knew the schedule 2 weeks before, and I'm not running. Any questions you had, you could have made. Secondly, talking about you never eaten a food. Pegasus have a 24-hour restaurant, and there are 2 online apps where you can order food in Jamaica. Seven Crave and one next to Ends. You can always order food. Then,
but you must know that you don't get Jamaica no more. You don't hear the man accent. Come on.
Accident. You still can know. That's where your team comes in. And the time when should I in bed asleep, him there on TikTok. Because Omar there post after 1. I know, because I follow him on social media. Rate Omar. Rate Omar. But I think you have...
Last week, when was it? Like 3 nights ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had an event to prepare for, and I needed to sleep. And there was no matter how much tried to go sleep, I just could not sleep.
No, don't get me wrong, it happens, you know.
Yeah, so I mean,
it happens.
Maybe
but I'm just saying.
I don't know. The thing is, the fact that the other 3 guys ran so fast, it sort of made his case a little bit weaker. But
and let us call a spade a shovel.
As a backup or something.
No, let us call a spade a shovel. Jamaica has 5 of the top 10 110-meter hurdles in the world.
Right.
So imagine you are that deep, because I think men's 110 is our deepest event overall. Is the deepest Jamaican group you will have. When you have 5 men in the top 10, right? Even if you lose 2, because we lost the 2 fastest,
right?
But you still have 3 men
3 finals
who are medal hope. Because let us be real, you have 5 in the top 10, you take out 2. You now still have 3 out of 8.
Right.
And we know that at least 1 out of that 8 from another country will not make it as well.
Right.
So you have 3 out of 7 of the best hurdlers in the world. Give them their credit. And look who are the hurdlers that have made it in front of him. Ronald Levy, one of the fastest hurdlers in the world this year. He's the fastest of the 3 that are there. Damian Thomas, the world junior record holder, and Answer Parchment, medalist in... Right. Fit Answer is there. Right. So it's not like you were replaced. It's not like he was replaced by Dejo Russell or Vassiano or these youngsters coming up. He was replaced by guys who literally are of the same caliber or of elite caliber.
Let me just catch up on the chat. Trev Essence says the men are doing what again? I don't know any of them. Devon Francis got injured at trials, and so I don't think he'll be running at all, says Sassy Bebito and Mo. Welcome. Omar Figwe, him lose at trials and go on like a people, then I make him lose. Sassy, you're harsh, man. Sassy
may not be harsh, but that's true. And here's my problem with it.
You follow him on Instagram, burn up that. Look at TikTok, man. So Duffy is the lion trouble. He said TikTok. Trev S said, you call him out bad. Omar was posting on TikTok, says Trev Essence. And so what when you think about our would-be lost legends like O'Hara and so forth?
All right. Let me answer 2 questions firstly. Right. I am calling him out, and I will call him out because, like I said, he's being disingenuous, and I rate him great hurdler, one of the greatest Jamaican hurdler of all time, sprint hurdler that is. But the entitlement thing, me have a problem with this, and we have a bunch of youngsters now who are coming up in sport who have this entitlement thing that they need to get rid of. You know the rules.
Whole Jamaican population.
No, it's not Jamaica. It's overall too. Because it's the same thing with a Shakari or whatever.
Yeah.
You know the rules. You know what's going to happen. Prepare yourself for it. And let me say this: the Olympic finals is the same way. You are going to run the semifinals in the night and run the finals the following morning. That's just what it is.
Good night, Sebastian Louise Jamfet listener here. Carlin, big up yourself. We know why him feel like him entitled. Sassy, you get trouble now. Sassy, I get trouble now. What do you think, Omar? I don't know. Is it laziness or should he have? Why has he not tried the 100 meter like a double?
I would not want him to double either. I do not want him to double either. I think
he's 100 meter in will mess up him.
No, it does. It doesn't really affect them that much if they do 100. It can affect you because what happens is that your cadence becomes a lot faster running the 100,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you realize because you need 4 strides to get to the first hurdle, you start to know how do I switch my cadence from flat race to
Right.
hurdling, and it can affect you. That's why you don't find many sprint hurdlers doubling, especially at the senior
Right.
level, and the hurdles are higher. So it's not like short hurdles where you can just slide over. The hurdles are higher, so
Right.
you have to
But
get
at a
back
time
more.
when men's sprinting is not that fast, and having run sub 10, you think he could have
Let
challenged
us,
him,
all right, again, let us
or
call a
even
spade a
run
spade.
more. Yeah.
Let us call a spade a spade. He ran 999 with a zero, a plus 2.0 win. Not really sub 10.
Yeah, but
It's
if you run
considered sub 10.
12.9, if you run 12.9, you surely can run a clear sub 10.
No, because we've had people run 10.8 and cannot run 12.8 and cannot run sub 10. You don't see Lu Zhang being a sub 10 runner. You don't see Darren Robles being a sub 10 runner. There are people who've done it because remember, it's a technical event that requires a particular level of cadence and movement. That's different than going down. It's like saying because I can run 19 seconds in a 200, I'm supposed to be able to run 44 over 400 because it's
Right.
just 2 times the speed. No,
Right.
it's a
Yeah.
different cadence. It's a different movement. So in that case, I would not want Omar to do that. I think first of all, Omar is actually quite small for a 110 hurdler in comparison to everybody else. He's a little bit shorter. So him being that good already is a thing. Very technical. My problem with Omar when he runs is that if you get up beside him and he can't shake you, we all know what happens. He hits the hurdles and crumbles.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Happens all the
He has
time.
a mistake in him, which is why people are saying, did he really lose that race or did he just mess up? You know, because he
I
does have
think
a.
in the Jamaica trials, it wasn't a matter of losing the race. Let me tell you what I think was Omar's issue. Omar was thinking too far ahead. He kept thinking, I'm already on the team.
I'm above this
You
thing.
Right. You can't be already on the team when your lineup features 4 other great hurdlers in the world.
Right.
You know? It's like saying a few years back, because I'm a sub 10 runner, I'm going to make Jamaica team. When you have guys running sub 10 that weren't even able to make Jamaica finals.
But he was thinking, because we've had cases in the past with, like, when Peter Gay Dowdy won the championship and they take her out and put Merlin Otti. She never recovered from that, clearly.
No, but here's the thing with Dowdy. That was why the rule was changed. It was that situation that forced the trials to become mandatory.
Exactly.
Right? Here's another thing that people do not know about what the Omar situation. When Omar said he felt cramps that morning, if Omar had gone over to the medical staff and told them that he did not feel that he was able to run, me know how Jamaican bias, they would have given him that medical exemption.
But did
because
they
why?
give medical exemption and still never green?
Hold on. It happened with Answer Parchment, where he was given a medical exemption after the heats a few years ago. All Ansel had to do was to come back and prove his fitness. Ansel did not prove his fitness because he actually made the trip and was listed as a reserve, but did not prove his fitness. It happened before. So if all he had to do, if he had felt the cramp at the time and said he couldn't run, like I said, no Jamaica would have probably feel sorry for him. The administration would have probably felt sorry for him and given him that blight. You know?
All right, let me catch up with the chat. Sassy says he can run the flats, but most of the hurdles are for him. Welcome to All About Life with Colleen, who is saying no beef is required. Sassy Diva says only manufactured beef, only bully beef.
Only bully beef.
Executed well, and as such, she won. Mexi Jam is here as well. Greetings, host. Hi, everyone in the chat. Mexi Jam has entered the building. Luxon, Mr. Little DJ, big up yourself. That's a big up for Jermaine. Hey, Omar said pride. Evil, you know.
What a need for stop it. What a need for stop it.
Omar said pride. Pun intended. Yeah, there would be. What? Sassy Diva said yes, they would.
Yeah, they would have given Omar the guy. They would have given him the
guy. He was
guy.
thinking even with an injury, I could win this race, you know.
Yeah.
Sassy Diva, greetings, Queen. It's officially Dion has joined us as well. Welcome, Dion. And Michael's still here. Yeah, Richard, I get trouble in the chat. Right, I mean, yeah, so maybe with the medical exemption, they probably would. But I think
they would have given him the
if the
listen.
other guys didn't run as fast as they did, they probably would have found a way to put him in. But with those times, it would have been complicated.
Exactly. And it is not just the times, it's the quality of the athletes. Remember, if anybody is to be upset, it's supposed to be Broadbell. Because he was actually injured and his medical exemption was thrown out the door.
Right.
So he has to,
he hasn't improved his fitness since then, has he?
Which is true, he hasn't. But even before then, even before the Gateshead meet, it was proven out. He was thrown out the door. Right. And you can, I will say this, and I can say this unequivocally, and anybody who wants to me say them can say me say. The rest of the money with the hurdles don't like Omar. They respect him for his talent and what he's done, but them don't like him.
They don't like him
because of his attitude.
He has too much pride. Isn't that the
Not just that. He has a diva attitude about him. I am better than this and they know this. You understand? Yeah. And rubbing salt with what he did post trials and the comments and that. All he's doing is rubbing salt into the wounds.
Yeah, you can't, but come on, not that I take a film, but you can imagine that. I mean, the Olympics, to be out of the Olympics, especially when you say you have a sense of entitlement. I mean, it burn him. It must burn him. You can't
listen.
Burn him hot.
If him get a Daniel Williams treatment, would I support him?
Right.
If him did false start and them kick him out, would have vexed to come and say make the money run. Just slow him. Right. It's a little false start. He literally ran the race, hit the hurdle, and failed to make top 3. Right. That's it. There was nothing else about it. You understand? That was the only thing about it. So if that's the case, you don't have nothing for Savior. That's just how I see it. You don't have nothing for Savior.
Yes, he would have gotten it, just like there's a ginger fly that I fight me from the Yeah, he would have gotten it. A lot of other athletes did. So
yeah, at least I've done it and gotten it. We can also remember Cady Spencer did it. I think it was in 2013 or one of those years. She also did that. So them would have feel sorry. Jamaica favor them stars, you know.
All right.
We know that.
Answer the question.
But let me answer this question about the
Michael O'Hara.
Yes, that's the question I'm going to answer. Michael O'Hara, I think number one, let me say this. I think Michael O'Hara should have literally determined that he was going to be a hurdler from high school. I said that his 200-meter strength and 100-meter speed with his height and his technique, if he had just stuck to the hurdles from day one, he would have been up there right now. But he wanted to be a Usain Bolt because now he's switched over to the hurdles and he's getting better. But that 3 years trying to be Usain Bolt could have been 3 years preparing you to be a great hurdler.
There's a lot of them, you know, I guess you meant those who were expecting to do very well who didn't.
And I'm going to go to each of them. Dejo Russell,
I don't. What happened to Roy Bailey? No, if you can back so far. You're probably too young to know Roy Bailey.
All right, let me tell you.
He was like supposed to be it was before Usain Bolt.
No, I know who you're talking. I know exactly who you're talking. One of the things that happened with a lot of our males, and you can go through history, there are only 3 men who were champ stars who transitioned into being senior stars for big schools. Now I won't say big schools, but 4 men, sorry, in Jamaica's history who were champ stars who went on in the sprint. The 4 men are Raymond Stewart, Don Quarry, Usain Bolt, Johan Blake. That's it. It's done this. Every other male that we've seen that has done well for Jamaica has been fringe or they weren't even active. So the Asafa Powell, which wasn't active, because if you know, Asafa Powell wasn't even the fastest man in his family. That title belonged to Donovan. You look at Michael Frater, who was always in the shadow of his big brother, Lindell. Nestor Carter never did anything at Manchester more than so. You look at who else? Warren Weir was a fringe.
Wasn't a big star.
No, Omar was a big hurdler, but that was it. He was just a hurdler. He wasn't a man that was going to run 1, 2, 4, 4x1, 4x4. He was just a hurdler first at Manchester.
But a lot of people are saying that they push them a lot in champs, and by the end of high school, then
Them done.
Them done.
I think
the girls side, I mean, we still maybe the rivalry is not as high on the girls in girls champs.
no. The thing about it is this. Let me tell you exactly what is going to happen with women. Girls' physical maturity takes place by the time they're 16. So any injury them have by them 16 or whatever, them body not going to change much, so you can fix it. The problem is boys keep growing even up to about 23. So when you destroy a young man's body at 17 and 16, and you have to rehabilitate his body during a process in which his body is growing, by the time he reach 20 something, he mash up. So God bless the few. That's why you will hear them say there has never been a class 3 star for boys in champs that has transitioned. Because when you're 12 and 13, I run class 3, and 14 I run class 3, and go through every training at that age, when your body feel grow. You realize what happened by the time them reach for them burn.
I was looking at Javon Francis and I felt bad. I'm like, he must struggle.
Javon Francis, for me, remember, people who may not know this, but Javon Francis was actually a 4-hurdler. People need to remember that. He was a 4-hurdler that just couldn't beat the likes of Omar and the crew and just switched to running the 400. That's what he was. And it wasn't until his final 2 years at champs that he really started to make a name for himself, especially after he made the national team, did what he did at the World Championships, and then came back and run for Calabar. That was a big thing. But Javon Francis wasn't a star like that. He wasn't one of the big guns at Calabar. He was just a regular 400 runner.
Hold your point. Let me just catch up with the chat. So you all know the 100-meter hurdles women is the race to watch. We have a Miss Anderson and a Miss Kappa. But didn't somebody run 12.2? I didn't see the race.
Yes. The favorite, I think she's going to win, which is Camacho Queen. 12.26 Olympic record. Looking like the world record is about to go. 12.20 by Kenny Harrison. Camacho looks like that record is going to go. 12.1 is definitely on the card. She's Puerto Rican, but she's American, but she represents Puerto Rico. Okay. So Puerto Rico claim her. Right?
Just a minute. But sure. Yes, Elaine, and also the 800 final, says Sassy Diva.
No, Sassy, I'm going to go to the 800. I'm so go to the 800. I want to talk about that.
Talk about the 800. Because there's a lot of issues.
That 800 I'm have to talk about. But going back to the hurdles. Camacho Queen is my...
Sassy Diva attitude about it. We have a nice attitude for real. Hold on, let me just catch up. I'm so proud how Miss Anderson held her composure after being in a race
that's who I was going to. Exactly. After I spoke about Queen, that's who exactly I was going to. Brittany Anderson, a past student of mine, when I was teaching at Veer. So, big up. So I've known her from she was 13.
Oh, so yeah, I'm used to teach at Veer, guys. So that explains the
only 1 year. Only 1 year. Only 1 year.
Has joined us as well. Mickey, big up yourself. Move for Jamaica. All about life. Colleen says I have to catch up on the 800. Okay, me just go through if me I missed any comment. We have Natalia. Sassy, well, I go for the 800 now. Yes.
Sassy, we have to talk about the 800.
Congrats, Shelly. Your time has passed. I don't know if I would say that. Your time has passed, but I mean, maybe there's a changing of the guard. I mean, the can't go.
It's not a change. I'm not going to go back to that, but it's not a changing of the guard. Remember, Shelly ran her fastest time in the Olympic finals ever and came second. Right? So, you can't decide. And Shelly would have had to run 10.5 to win that race. So,
the answer, she doesn't know what we're talking about. We're talking athletics, we're talking track and field, we're talking Olympics, Dion. And we were talking about the men who are the boys who haven't been able to transition from high school into Olympic champions or world champions.
What I will say though is, let us have this discussion by the next Olympics. It's 3 years. There's a crop who is coming and they're doing well. Just give them some time. Transitions happen.
Keeping the same coaching setup like a lot of
a lot of them are leaving. And we must give respect to a lot of the coaches in Jamaica. We have some really talented coaches. Give them credit. But just give them some time. I think what happened was that we expected the next year, which would have been the Ashmeads, the Kemar Bailey Coles, the Johan got injured, but the Ashmeads, the Kemar Bailey Coles, the Julian Forts to go and hold the fort a little bit, no pun intended.
Yeah, would I expect them from Kemar Bailey Cole? Like what has happened to him?
Injury. Most of them are injuries. You look at Nickel Ashmead, who literally had a life situation. Ashmead, it's
Ashmead
really just
never. I mean, people didn't love Ashmead because he just would never turn up in this day.
Warren, we can talk to you about that.
A double portion.
Warren can talk to you about that one. Because every time they buck up in a championship, Warren beat him, and he will beat Warren 9 times out of 10. But I think we were expecting that group to carry the barrier a little bit until we saw the next group transition. What happens is because that group has failed, we are putting pressures on the Oblique Civils and the Chris Taylors to peak quicker than they need to. Not everybody's Johan Blake and Usain Bolt at 21 going to be superstars. It takes a time to get there. So just give them some time. Let us have this conversation in about 3 years.
There was one the biggest example was one called Sekou Clark. He was so talented. And man, he was like the most talented. Yeah.
Sekou Clark, attorney at law, because he's an attorney now in Florida. I don't want to talk about him because every time I think about him, my heart jumps. What a waste. And that was personal because his father mashed him up. That one was it was his father that mashed him up.
So entered the building, big up yourself, town man.
Right, yeah, but let me go back to
terrible.
Yeah, but let me go back to the women's 100-meter hurdles. Camacha Quinn is easily the favorite to win. I think she has the world record in her. She looks amazing. But I had Kelly to get the silver medal. But then, as I call her good body Brittany, because trust me, my body look good enough. But
I've not seen any hurdles race at all. We have the French. I'm up on Twitter. I criticize the France television, and of course, them not even pay me no mind. The coverage is appalling, worse than NBC. And usually we get good track and field coverage, but for this Olympics, man, I don't know if it's the time.
Yes, Colleen, we spoke about Johan. I think we went on for about half an hour about Johan.
Yeah, we spoke about Johan.
We spoke about Johan.
Next Jam says I was a little disappointed with Shelly not accepting defeat more gracefully from her own country girl. She got beaten by a much faster time, and she has never run that fast and never will. Oh God. Well, a harsh man with athletes.
I don't think Shelly would have run that fast either. But Jam, let me say this.
Spikes, I mean, you say Mo was complaining about these spikes. We haven't touched the spikes, but it's making. You don't think it's the spikes that's making this?
No, it's not. Every time somebody
COVID made them rest a little longer, or
there are many factors. The times you're talking about, the spikes will probably take off a little bit, but it's not going to. The spikes isn't going to turn someone who runs 10-8 into running a 10-6. No.
Right.
If you're running 10-6, it's because your body has the ability to run that. And for Mexijam, I will say this: she did congratulate Elaine, not just there, but she also made a tweet. And in her post-race interview, she did congratulate Elaine. Remember, this is sports, and people will be disappointed. And it's not necessarily disappointed that they lost, but sometimes they're disappointed that they didn't perform how they expected to.
I mean,
so you have to.
It's obvious that she made the beef was obvious. I think that's it.
Oh,
Elaine was over celebrating, which she was putting it on. I mean, even when you watch her grandmother, I watched Elaine's grandmother today watching the race, and her grandmother was saying some things to the point where she was almost like referring to the beef, because she was saying, oh, Elaine is like Daniel in the lion's den, and the race is going to close up the lion's mouth, because they were saying something about she mental, or so it's like so she was saying that some of the lion's mouth that got closed were saying that Elaine had a mental issue. And it was clear that she was referring to Shelly and Fraser. If Shelly,
I wouldn't say it's just Shelly.
But
let me say this: it wasn't just Shelly. Like I said,
even Shelly in the beef. Mishibu has entered. Welcome, Mishibu. Big up
Sherika
yourself.
is good. By the way, Sherika is good friends with Shelly. Shelly is like her mentor, so you can understand how that is.
Where does Sherika train?
She trains at MVP, but MVP is split down the middle because
Oh,
Stephen Francis is a Nike coach, a Nike sponsored coach.
right.
MVP is a Puma sponsored club.
Oh,
So if you notice, he only trains the athletes who are Nike sponsored.
oh,
So the Stephanie and McPhersons, the Elaine Thompsons, he's responsible for them. Everybody else is Paul Francis, but we know say a Steve write the program and give Paul.
right.
So, but that's what they split. And there's also an American. There's also MVP and MVP group in Florida as well. So they're more than that's how MVP is at the moment, right? So we give them that credit. But I don't really want to go too far.
No, I know. Give us a scoop. Give us a scoop. You don't have to tell us everything, but give us a scoop.
Right. But what I will say is if you listen to Sherika's interview post at the end of the national trials, she made it clear Paul Francis is my coach. There's a reason for it.
Right.
Right? And we all know, and many people know, Stephen Francis, even though a genius in my book, is not the most likable human being on the face of the earth.
Because I remember that interview, like somebody said something about Stephen Francis, and she said, no, Paul Francis is like,
Paul
so I was like, wow, that was something wrong.
Yeah, there's...
But, I mean, Stephen Francis has had a lot of run-ins with a lot of people. Like, I mean, even with the Jamaica national team. It's sort of calm down now. I don't know if he's getting wiser with age.
No, him just don't have as much athletes as one time. Right. That's all it is. There's just not as much. And because his brother is a part of the coaching staff. Paul is a part of the coaching staff, for the Jamaican coaching staff. So him can kind of easily, because he can talk to him brother. You don't really have to go out there. Yeah. Right? But no, I really need to get to that hurdles. And I was speaking about Brittany Anderson, 12.40, the fastest ever 20-year-old, doing it when it matters, and look like she can go faster. And by the way, in Jamaican terms, Brittany's a strong piece of girl. Not just physically, but we saw it.
Thing, but we not no response in
her heats, in Brittany's heats, she clattered or clipped the second hurdle, and we know usually with women when they clip the hurdle, that's it. By the time she got to the third hurdle, you didn't even remember that she hit the second hurdle. Her cadence didn't change. She was flawless, and she got over the hurdle in 12.67.
Right.
Goes into the semifinal against the world record holder Kenny Harrison, and left Kenny Harrison for dead.
Wow.
So I had Kenny to win the silver. I might have to rethink that.
But Kenny is black and white. It can either be very good or very bad.
And I think Kenny, now realizing that she is not even the second fastest person in that field anymore,
right?
It might play a part on her psyche, because I need to go and check the lane assignments. But if Brittany Anderson is between Kenny and is beside Kenny, or Camacho is beside Kenny, Kenny going crumble. I'm not asking you that. Kenny going crumble. That's not even a question.
What is happening with American track and field? Like, there's a problem, man. Is it that? I don't know, but it's very weak. I've never seen the US this weak, ever.
I don't think it's weak. Let us call a spade, as I said. What is happening is now the world is catching up. You understand? Remember when back in the day when you had a man running 9.8, 9 times out of 10 he was American. A woman running 10.8, 9 times out of 10 she was American. Or 8 times out of 10 she was American. What is happening now is that people are catching up to the rest of the rest of the world is catching up to the US. And that is also important. And they are no longer dominant in anything, because what is happening is you have people who are now representing other countries who are training in the US. They know the competition a lot more. because there's so many meets, people are actually competing now against each other more
All right,
often.
let me get some of the chat because we don't want to run when left them. Big bro on
Mm-hmm.
the screen, big up yourself. Mexi Jam, that was not it at all. She did zone out due to the shock because she had no doubt that she wouldn't win. All right, Miss, she's saying big up. Tall man, hello everyone. But talking about the spikes, did you guys see how they were examining the Jamaican spikes? Really? Who?
Them examine everything
It's me
about
the people
Jamaica.
who are bashing her. It's not the athlete, says Sassy Diva. Going down, up, up. Me just wake up, Jamfet getting ready for work. It's Monday morning. Me, she's in Australia. Monday morning already
Wow.
in Australia. He also helped drive refs between the programs then. Me don't like him for that, says Sassy Diva, talking about Stephen Francis.
Mm-hmm.
Him don't nice at all. All a lot of the coaches are brothers. Clearly, they have the gift in their blood, says Mickey Supreme. On Instagram, yeah, Colleen, I saw it. I didn't see that it was in stories. I thought it was in the feed. I did want to drop out, you see, the one Kenny. I actually don't mind her. She's one American.
I love Kenny.
Really like.
I love
And,
Listen, I'm a fan of athletes regardless of countries,
I used to
and
like
I love
Carlton
Kenny.
as well.
No
When it
man,
comes to them, that's the big question, Jamfet. And the last one, no, not at all. America has catch up on itself. They have consistently been a bunch of drug cheats over the years.
Mm.
Enough issue them to be
about the drug cheating, let me say this. I have this mentality of you're innocent until you get caught. That's just it. Because I'm not going to point the finger in their face, and don't remember that we've had our little squabbles as well in Jamaica. Granted, some of them may not be as intense.
All right, yeah. Some of our athletes have been caught red-handed.
We understand.
We don't like to talk about it, to be honest.
But it's true.
I've seen, like, even in the track and field groups, people remind you that Shelly was caught once, Veronica was caught, even though they were cleared subsequently.
Right. Them saying that Jamaica take the maca out of here, right, first. So when you talk about Brianna, we can go back as far, even Merlin at one point, you know. So let us call a spade a spade.
She was eventually cleared, so once they're cleared, we can't use it against them, to be honest.
And we're not saying that all of them were for serious things, you know, like Shelly's own and Asafa own and Yohan, they were for literal simple pain medication or flu medication. Same thing with Brianna. But at the same time, it is still.
I think she was nandrolone, which they said her body at that age was making her so. A lot of. Yeah.
So you have, even though some of them may not be the big things, it is still what it is. You get my sense? So you have to call it.
Talk about Brianna's race. All right, finish with Brianna and
Brittany's race. Brittany she looks good.
In the hurdles, anything can happen. You just if you lick one hurdle,
which is true. So but let me say this. Let me say this and be clear. And I made a statement to a friend of mine yesterday, and I'm going to say it here. In 2 years' time, Brittany Anderson will be the best sprint hurdler in the world. Can't take it from now. When you are able to run 12:40 with the world record holder beside you or in the same race and beat her, making her look like a punk, there is something special about Brittany. And the thing about Brittany that people don't understand. Exactly. She's fast and she's strong. She reminds me of, I said it to somebody, she reminds me of a Michelle Perry. The only thing is that she's a bit thicker than Michelle.
Right.
She has the height, she has the speed, she has the turnover, clean. So for Brittany, it's just about doing the thing. And this event, the 100-meter hurdles for women, for years, America has had a stranglehold on the event. Granted, every once in a while, you know, Bridget, Dello, then Danielle and Michelle Freeman and some of these, they would come in and pick up medals. It's really been the US event and Sally Pearson.
From
right?
Ever
By the next Olympics, it's probably going to be a Jamaican event with Brittany Anderson, the likes of Daniel Williams still around, Yannick Thompson, Akira Nugent, these girls, Johnny Brown, who many people forget, also has run very fast. That group of female young hurdlers, and we have more coming up. Watch out for them. I do believe what is going to happen, and going back to even the talk about where's Jamaica's next reign going to come from, the sprint hurdles in the next few years is going to be for us what the sprints were 10 years ago. We are going to be really dominant over the sprint hurdles. Just watch out for it.
On both sides as well, men and female.
Yeah, men and women. Because when you talk about the likes, most of our sprint hurdlers know Hansel is the old man, and Hansel is 33. And he's the old man. Everybody else is under the age of 30. And then you look at the likes of a Vassiano, Pinnock, who used to go Casey, who's now overseas. We don't know if he's going to the long jump or hurdles. Either one. You look at Orlando Bennett. I don't show the flag on Dejour Russell yet. So you're looking at these people, and you have Damian Thomas, who is young. You have Philip Lemonius, Broadbell. It is going. That's where our dominance is going to be, as well as probably the women's sprints for the next few years.
Sprints, we have our next legacy coming. Those.
So
that's names coming up. Lot of names.
That's going to be dominant.
Enough beef. I got.
What?
How are you gonna? The twins. One of them run must be 11-1.
I want to have a PB. The next one have a PB of 11-2.
Right.
Tia is 11-1-5 and P and
Ashanti Moore.
Exactly.
Brianna Williams is still young.
Brianna is 19.
Brianna is 19.
And I will say this to you. I can tell you that there's already a manufactured beef between Brianna and Kivona.
So we might not, and Kivona and Ashanti. We might not even.
And Kivona and Ashanti.
We might not even see Elaine in the next Olympics.
There you go. It is that.
It might be that
deep.
competitive, but Elaine might not even get to defend her title based on the
exactly.
girls.
Based on how it is looking. So we have to, and then remember, Sharika at 27 years old is still young and is just new to the sprint, to the 100 meter. So it's going to be a deep pool for us. Brianna Liston, who is the rival of
a lot more than the 400. I mean, most
everybody who
training is harder.
Everybody who drops down enjoys the sprint, the 100 more than the 400.
Because even what's your name, Shannon Miller, only doing the 200.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fred Curley will tell you that he loves the 100 more than he loves the 400. I saw that in an interview. So it happens.
What about Blessing? That was a disappointment. How come, Mary?
I can't even talk about it because for somebody who's maintained such a great reputation for the better part of 14 years, for this to happen in the twilight of your career,
but when you run, like Nigerian sprinters got tested. Not sprinters, Nigerian Olympians got tested positive. So I don't know if something went wrong there, or I don't know.
We don't know what it is. And for the Blessing case, it's just about let us hear what happened first. Let us hear what happened first before we even criticize. Because, like I said, it is for somebody who's had such a clean career and consistent for how long, for this to happen at the twilight of your career, at near to the end of your career, it not look good.
Some people didn't do those type of drugs. They were medical reasons. Drugs are drugs.
It depends on the ban list.
Brittany, good for real, says Michael. Same sir. I see the star in Britain if it's true. Sassy says, yeah man, Jamaica going to dominate a lot of these events to come in a few years.
Let me say this.
Wins, the Puerto Rico lady is good enough, but I want Britain to get her first Olympic gold in Tokyo.
Colleen, let me say this.
Michael, just hold your point 1 minute. Michael says the twin from Edwin and Bad, them are going to be legendary twins. Tina and Tia, I can't wait until they reach international circuit, says Sassy. And all the others, Michael says, so Sassy says, I find that weird for Blessing because she has been clean for her entire career. And my Mickey is saying that the Rastaman is doing some good analysis. Yeah.
Let me address that issue quickly. When Colleen talk about Brittany Anderson,
Mickey, you can jump up. I've dropped the link in the chat. You want to jump up? Yes.
Brittany Anderson is what I see from her. We're not just talking about someone. You see, when we talk about legendary, there are a
Right.
few Jamaicans that when we saw them, we went, this person going to be special.
Like
Veronica Campbell, bro, Usain Bolt. Right. When I say Brittany Anderson, that's exactly what I see.
Yeah.
And she made a great decision to leave champs early and focus on developing herself. Because what has happened now is that she's grown into her body. Because if you've watched Brittany for the last 2 years, her body was still developing, right? And she was trying to get used to having that new body, basically. She's now at 20, she knows her body. Right. And the mistakes that she would make at 17 and 18, she's not making anymore. And that's why she could go into an Olympic race and run and beat the world record holder. Do I have her to win? No. Do I want her to win? Yes. Do I have her for a medal? Definitely. But I am still...
the problem with the race is that there are 10 hurdles to clear.
That is it.
In that finals, with the pressure, with the... There's a lot.
And the thing about it is, for me with Brittany is this. She's the only person going into that final that's fast, that has nothing to lose.
Right.
Nothing at all to lose. So she's going in there, the second fastest currently now in the world, with nothing to lose. Like, she's like, the pressure is on Camacho. Yeah. Kenny is worrying about, can she get rid of the jitters because she's the world record holder and doesn't have a title. Everybody else is trying to see, okay, can I do this? And Brittany's in all of this, like...
And Brittany's like, I just ran 12. Did I really just run 12-4?
Yeah, Brittany's like, okay. You know, she's the child out of everybody, so she's nothing to lose. So, but I will say in 2 years, 3 years, by the next Olympics, I do not see anybody being able to challenge that young woman.
Right, so the race is actually in a few time.
It's actually in about 5 hours time.
Yeah.
It's in about 5 hours time. So
we haven't yet touched maybe the 4x1 for women.
No, I'm not going to touch the 4x1 yet. I want to get to the 800 meter because a lot of people are talking about the 800. Yeah. Let me say this and say this out loud. This is strictly German view. This is not the view of Jamaica. This is not the view of the individual. This is not the view of the J3As. This is not the view of the Olympic Committee. This is my personal view. If Natalia Gould will get a silver medal, it's a disappointment for me. Call it what it is. If Gould does not get that silver, it is a disappointment for me because with Almanza out, with the field looking this week, with her looking easily, finally knowing what strategy is, putting together strategic races, running the time she's running.
I think she can win it.
I still have a thing more to win that. I'm sorry. I think more is just in another world.
Not as fast goal.
No, but I think doesn't need a kick. I think can go around that field running 51 and 51. That's how good she is. You know? So she doesn't need a kick. But if she does not win a silver medal for me, Natalia, don't get me wrong, if you win a bronze, it's still great. It's history for Jamaica. We know that's something there. But if she not win a silver medal for me, personally, is a disappointment.
So how do you feel about people like Casta Semenya and those athletes? The event is weaker. I mean, they weren't running world record times either.
Let me say this. I think Casta purposely did not want to break that world record. Too much was on her head if she did.
I thought about that as well.
I thought she could have easily broken that world record. Too much was on her head. If she did, we know exactly what would have happened. Right. So I will say this, that it doesn't water it.
Jamaica, clearly.
It doesn't water it down for them. But what it does is that it doesn't water it down for me completely, but it does make it lose some of that oomph that it had.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
You know, um, and that's about. I have mixed feelings about it. Like personally, I would want all of them to be there, and it
Definitely.
becomes the showdown.
Right.
You understand? Whether it be Semenya or what the next one name?
What's your name? Three of them. Can't
Yeah,
remember the names now.
Semenya and Manwabi or whatever show her name or whatever. All of these, if they were there with everything, that it would be a finals to watch. Trust me. But at the same time, you cannot not realize that it gives them an advantage.
Right.
And as somebody like an Natalia Gould or others who doesn't have that advantage, they're
Right.
going to suffer. Right? But
Mm.
it also maybe push them to run faster than they've ever run,
Right.
knowing that that's who they have to catch. So it's bittersweet for me not having them there, but you can only race who is in front of you. And
Definitely.
in front of Natalia Gould right now is one person.
Mm.
One person. If she holds her composure, does her race plan, doesn't try to go out
But
too
if the
hard,
race can work, because if it doesn't work, if they're close to her going in that straightaway,
I don't
but she
think there are any
must
kickers
go
in
down.
that race. I don't think there are any kickers in that race but Moo. There are
Mm.
none. If you see them, it's not. They have to literally run with you. And people
Right.
forget this. Natalia Gould is a quality 400-meter runner. So it's
Right.
not that she can't kick.
Mm-hmm.
She can. I have to give her that credit. But my problem with Natalia is usually this. She runs 600 meters hard and then dead afterwards.
Yeah.
I have seen over the past year what she has done is conserve a little bit more and try to run a more even 800 meters. So she'll probably run 59 for the first lap and then run 59 for the next lap or 56 or whatever, or 57, and try to run a more evenly paced race. If she does that, then it's an easy pickings.
All about Colleen asking what is Ras' name. Oh, it's Jermaine. Oh God, am I really company my program? I call him Ras. Mickey Supreme, thanks. But says thanks. But I can't jump on. Haven't watched much Olympics, only the replays. I'm Liquor TVJ, that's right. He's Jermaine a coach. So did you do any coaching in there? He used to be at very technical. Yeah, bring that
I,
no matter what. Aji Wilson out too, she
I
says.
saw that
The last time.
the girl that put her the last time was Almanza. She's out. I knew AJ Wilson was going to be out from that first round. When I saw she had to run hard to come back, I
Yeah,
knew
she
Wilson was out. I knew that was out. Colleen, the 800 meters will be run on Monday night, Monday morning. Tomorrow morning, I think it's tomorrow morning. I think so. There was a 2-day break between the semifinals and the final for the women's 800. So they had 2 days break.
Listen though, they have the women's heat and semis the same day. That's a bit too much, no? I don't remember
I
it
thought
ever
so
being like
too.
that. I remember the heats used to be the morning after the 100 finals.
Right.
The
I
next
think, but here's
day.
here's the issue with it for me. Because these women, like the top 6, are so far ahead of everybody, it's really just a run out for them. That's what
For
it
the heat.
is. And
Yeah.
it's really just a why do I have to be here kind of vibe. You know, so it shouldn't be, and I would love for them to run it, but because they had the day off, they had to concise it. So
Right.
you had to end up doing that. And I think there's a bit of a gap. There's literally a full day's gap between the semifinals and the finals. So they literally have 1 day to recoup.
Right.
But it's really just going to be a jug out for the top 8, to be honest. There should be no surprises.
Okay.
There should really be no surprises. But
All right.
for
That's still a run. Lord, they murder that girl's spirit, her energy, her being. They really do her bad.
Sassy, I think she has retired. I wouldn't say she has retired, but
Come on,
because
see
they've
what she
concise,
running, 5,000 or 10,000.
yeah. And
I
Sharia
would
said
love
she
to see
couldn't.
somebody try the 100, then Elaine and Flojo record, dead.
Um, that's
Um,
not.
yeah, it's not on the
That's
schedule
not.
tonight, Colleen. It's probably tomorrow. All right, so
Yeah,
that's
Colleen. The 800 is tomorrow. Um,
the part of the conversation have to go, says Colleen. Thank you so much, Colleen, for joining us.
I will say this though,
Again, remember
people
to put
for
your thumbs up
people
for your leave.
for people who don't understand how the testosterone, the excessive testosterone in your body works, it makes you stronger, not
Right,
faster. So that is why you will hear them say they will not allow them to run the 400, the
right.
800, and the 15, but they can run the 2 or longer
Oh, yeah.
because you don't get extra speed by having the testosterone in your body. You get extra strength.
Right.
So if you're a 24 runner, the extra testosterone probably going to make you run 23.9. It's not going to make you faster. But what it does is that it allows you to be more even. So running a 800 meter, when a woman would run 58 seconds, then run 56 or 58 again to run 156, and it is tiring on the body. For them, running 58 and 58 is like a walk in the park because you're stronger. It allows you to do that. So that's what the extra testosterone does to your body. So it's not that they're faster than you, just that they're able to maintain their strength longer,
And
which
as I
is
said,
which
we've never
becomes
really
a
seen somebody
disadvantage.
max out total.
Exactly. We've never, even when she ran 155, it was the easiest 155 ever. And there were
Exactly.
many times she was playing possum with the crowd, where she'd have you run out and then she'd just say, all right, whatever, and come
Yeah.
past you. So we've never seen that. But if she had maxed out, we knew exactly what was going to happen. Where record was going to be broken and the questions were going to come up. So
I don't like
play
how
it
the
safe.
IWF dealt with the situation. Bro. I thought it was they made it a bit too humiliating for the athletes. But
Let me see.
that situation as well, you know.
I am not an exec at World Athletics, so them can't ban me for say this.
That's the
So
Diva
I'm going to
says,
say
yes,
this.
they did her really bad, getting some charge, says Stephanie. Okay.
If this was a European, or if these were Europeans, there would be nothing done about it.
Right.
But don't talk this.
Yeah, as a German, I mean, enough of the East German records are still like.
And the Russian record, if it was a European, World Athletics would not have done anything to it. But they're not Europeans; they're Africans.
Yeah, she said World Athletics. That's their new name.
Yes, that's their new name. But for me, as I said personally, the 800 meter hasn't. From a Jamaican perspective, for us to medal, and even if Natalia could get the silver, what it would do
probably
for
be our biggest medal of the championship.
exactly what it would do for the sport and just diversity in Jamaica's track and field, because there are people who are running 400 meters now who I believe should be running 800,
right.
And there are people who are sprinting who I believe should be doing long jump or doing the hurdles. So the fact that we are getting more diversity, and we must also give a shout out to the throws coach. Jamaica has 4 world-class discus throwers. And I say 4 because only 3 can go to the the Olympics. But a person like Kai Chang, who is the current world junior champion and one of the best throwers at junior level of all times, he trains with the same group with Travis Michael and Frederick Dakers. So, and he's also coming out of the Calabar camp. So Julian is doing something great over there. That we have a great core of throwers, and that's you see that bringing more throwers, because that was really just we had one person. You understand? That was Jason Morgan. It was Dads, another Calabar man, but it was Dads, and then we saw Travis and Tad and Frederick, and now we're seeing us getting more throwers across the board. Still need some work with the shot put, but we'll see that there. We're producing hurdlers. Remember, it was just Maurice Wignall alone. Then it was Maurice Wignall and Dwight Thomas. Then we saw the Andrew and the Hansels and the Omars, and now we have one of the deepest, really hurdles groups
Yeah, I think we're
in the world.
diversifying, which is good. I mean, first time I remember, like the first Olympics we really watched was '92, and I mean, it was we weren't even in many other sports, you know. So
Exactly.
now you look, you might see a swimmer, a boxer, you know.
And that's what is happening for Jamaica. It's going to take time because it's a lack of resources. Let's be real. I spent 1 year being a teacher at very technical and seeing these athletes train. And I went, what if these athletes actually, and I saw what they went through because I lived on campus. So I saw what a lot of them went through,
Mm.
you know. Imagine if they had resources, what the outcome would have been. And that's just one school because we know there's Homewood and there's Edwin Allen and stuff like that. We'll see what is happening at Calabar, and the fact that when you see now the Calabar is getting brand new tracks and the KC is getting tracks and Jamaica College getting tracks, and we realize Jamaica College got their new track and now they won champs.
Right.
You understand?
Mm.
Calabar got their track, they were winning. So we saw what having resources does, and then now having the people. We had two men who represented Jamaica in the long jump. We have a triple jumper. We have a world-class long jumper. Now you're going to see, and then you have the likes of Wayne Pinnock, who I think Wayne Pinnock, if needed, probably might do the weirdest double on the face of the earth. The 110 hurdles and the long jump. That would probably be the weirdest double to do. But he's world-class in both of them.
Right.
You know?
So yesterday, Costa somebody really bad. She's agreeing, okay, Flojo shouldn't even have her name mentioned in sports. Let's have a record because everybody knows it's all drugs and we need more high jumpers.
For the high jumpers, I think the Christoph Bryan being so injured, that really hampered us.
College should be out there representing Jamaica.
All right, Sassy, let me mention this. You have to remember, say, Campion, Tiango. Campion. There was a very limited chance that he was going to be an athlete. He's a bright boy. He was a bright student. So for him, track and field was a scholarship. You know, the scholar spade a spade. You know, Thean O'Connor was probably, but there are those coming up like a Kemar Farquharson. You have to give him people like him. What's the next guy from? There's another guy as well from Edwin Allen. So there are a couple of the boys who are doing 800 meters. And there's a Calabar 1500, 5000 guy as well. Vincent. So there are a couple of the guys who are doing distances, but we just have to hope to them get.
There was a false start.
And remember,
right?
You know what?
The 100. There was a false start from
Zarnell Hughes.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointed. He trained in Jamaica, I think.
Yes, he trains with the Racers Club. Went to KC for 1 year. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
And he still has a champs record, 10.10.
What happened to? There was a sprinter from Monroe who was like ahead of him. Can't remember.
Williams Delano. He runs for Great Britain as well. He runs for Great Britain.
He ran this year.
I think I don't know if he's a part of their 4x4, but I know he focuses more on the 400 2-4. Okay. But he was a part of the 4x4 cohort in 2019. I don't know what's really happened to him, but we'll see. But he also represents Great Britain.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with him.
High school and finish with high jump, says Sassy.
No, actually, Sassy, he was actually doing well at the collegiate level. And came to Jamaica. That's Christoph Bryan, and came to the Jamaica trials and made the team and got injured. I think that was 2017 or so. And then it really is injury. He has a serious back injury, which a lot of high jumpers tend to have, and he has had that since he was going to school.
So you know, we love the guy. I think me name my son after. He would always work no matter how injured he was. Who shot that?
Christoph. I'm guessing Christoph.
Or Tian. Thought it was
no.
Tian. No.
But I would say about Christoph is that Christoph is actually a coach now. He coaches now. So or an assistant coach, whatever you want to call it, but he is a coach. So you have to give him that credit. And we'll see what happens. He was just Christoph Bryan was just a factor of injury.
Right.
Oh,
So
Zane.
he was at Monroe. Yeah, I figured. For 4 years before going to
No,
KC.
Delano was strictly Monroe.
No,
Zanel
Hughes.
Zanel wasn't at Monroe. He
wasn't?
actually came to Jamaica to run professional, and they put him in the school system, and he went to sixth form at KC.
Okay.
That was it. He wasn't really.
Both of them then.
Monroe, Delano was at Monroe though. He did his entire high school at Monroe.
You said yes, they come from Cayman Islands. I thought it was British Virgin Islands or something like that.
Zanel comes from Delano comes from Turks and Caicos, and Zanel comes from I don't remember. I think he's Saint Kitts, one of them islands there.
British. I think it's British. What is your name? Virgin Islands or something like that.
Right. But Delano is from Turks and Caicos, strictly from Turks and Caicos. I know that because we met him when he was at Monroe, and him always rep Turks and Caicos, always. You know, so and I think for Delano, his reason for going to Monroe was because of the colors, the blue and gold, reminding him of Turks and Caicos. That's exactly why he went to Monroe.
Okay.
So,
well, the 4x1. You're not touching 4x1. Really?
The women's 4x1. The women's 4x1. We should get to the finals. With the according to what I'm hearing, it's Brianna Williams to Natasha Morrison to Ramona Bertrell to Shericka Jackson. So far, for the heats, that might change. For the finals, it's the big three plus Brianna Williams.
Yeah, but how are you going to Armshouse? Big up yourself, Armshouse. Yes, has entered the chat. How do you line them up? And do we get the record?
The
anchor leg.
The two legs, the first leg and the third leg is, I think, cemented. Unless Steve Francis decides he wants to keep up his foolishness, it's Brianna Williams on the first leg, and it is Elaine Thompson on the third leg. I would run Shericka on anchor and put Shelly on the backstretch, strictly because Shelly has so much experience running backstretch. So I would do that. If you put Shericka on the backstretch and give Shelly the anchor home for the glory leg, being her last Olympics, it doesn't diminish the team either. So
you wouldn't put Elaine on this backstretch?
No, because who's going to run the curve? Shelly's not a curve. Shelly could, but because, like I said, we don't want a repeat of 08. Use you at where you are. You have been used.
Brianna on the curve and make Shelly start.
No, man. Shelly is going to.
Oh, Shelly, yeah.
Shericka on the backstretch makes sense because she's the strongest runner, and you probably would want your strongest runner on the backstretch with that top end speed. But Shelly has run very good backstretches in the past and tends to be very clean. Shericka ran the anchor 2 years ago, so you understand why running the anchor is not a problem, and she's a lot faster now than she was 2 years ago. Right? So her being faster, right? Elaine, for me, runs better on the curve in a relay than on the backstretch. Because I've seen her do both, and on the backstretch, them eat her up, but on the curve, she eat up everybody. So that's why I would run her on the curve. That would be my
the curve. Who runs the curve? Elaine is probably the better curve runner.
Elaine is probably the better curve runner out of all of them. So that would be my relay team. It's not a matter of gold medal right now.
It's just the record.
Yeah, because they could stand up in the exchange zone and still win. You don't have 1061, 1063, and 1076 on a 4x1 and worrying about winning a gold medal. Right now, it is world record. We should be going for that world record.
Chips of Coco has entered the building saying, "Hi, family. Welcome, Coco, welcome." So, are we getting it or not?
We should. But with a little.
For relay more than any other race, because for some reason.
No, man, the relays are amazing. But here's the reason why
that stresses me out, like totally.
Here's why the relays kind of have me in a little jitters. And I'm going to tell you why. I still can't get over 2008. Like, I have never gotten over 2008. Ever. That was the most accomplished 4x1 team ever assembled. You have 3 medalists from the 100. One of the medals from the 100 has the bronze in the 200 and the 200-meter champion.
Right.
You literally have the best 4 assembled. The slowest person running 10:86 that year. And you go drop the button. That I've never gotten over that.
Sometimes
Never.
speed kill the button, you know. Sassitiva says, I think they should let Shelly start because she's very fast on the start. Brianna is a starter as well, you know.
Exactly. Brianna's only asset to that team is starting. That's her only asset to that team.
But
There's
she's a good curve runner as well, Brianna.
But she's a great starter. But here's the thing. Would you want to go speed, then ease off of the curve and then go back to speed, or would you just want to say, let us get...
The curve is the shortest distance. So,
but would you want... Here's the thing. I would get rid of Brianna's leg early because I know she's probably going to give you a lead. Brianna Williams is probably going to give you a lead.
Yeah.
And then you just use speed after that. After that, it's just speed.
Right.
You understand? So you're using...
Live, hoping you're good, says Coco. I think they should... Okay, we read that. I think they should let Shelly start. Roshpin and Dana has entered the house. Welcome. Welcome, Yard Flex as well. Big up yourself. 2008. Yeah, everybody across for the 2008 relay. None of the 3 sounded like they wanted to run the relays. No, I think they... let's not talk so far ahead. Let's concentrate on our individual strength. I think they're going to run the relay, and they are
going to. And a word came out from the camp yesterday that after the 100 meters, they all sat down and worked out the relay, how they would do it. So that's a good sign.
And I mean, even the medal ceremony, I thought there was a little bit more of an attempt to show a unified front. I mean, about it. The team must talk about it.
You know? That me know that talk about it.
That Shelly and post today, it was clear. I mean, all of Sherika's story is just about all 3 women. So, you know, and Shelly made a post today that was clearly trying to out the fire on that.
And I shared that. For me, I think personally, like when they look at it, I think this team is probably, when they think about that 4x1, they are probably going in their mind and saying, this is it, yo. I don't think any of them will ever run on a team this good again.
Yeah, they know this is a world record attempt.
Yeah.
Not stupid. Mickey says, my 4x1 women lineup is Shelly to Brianna to Sherika to Elaine. I don't like the lineup there at all.
Boy, that lineup there silver medal.
The second leg is the longest leg.
It's the longest leg. And she has the least speed endurance.
Brianna's there. Would either start Brianna or put her on the curve. Those are Brianna's 2 possibilities.
Yeah, there's no but if you check Brianna's Instagram, you would see that she is working on coming out of the blocks with the baton.
Right.
That says it all. That says it all. And we knew...
Actually agrees with Mickey's lineup from Shelly to Brianna to Sherika to Elaine.
Sassy, you know what, the world record? Why are you going to give us the person with the least speed endurance the biggest leg?
Longer leg.
I don't know what the world record.
No, I wouldn't put Brianna. Brianna is third or start. Shelly down the back, but as you say, who gets the glory leg? That's the thing. I think
that's what it is. Who gets the glory leg?
Sherika Jackson.
Let me say, Sherika.
No, because there's no competition coming from anybody else in the world. That's the thing.
Exactly.
So you don't harm yourself by putting Sherika on the anchor. But does Elaine want the anchor leg? If Elaine win the 200. Clearly, she's gonna want the anchor for the triple goal.
I think
so
this team has to take the issue.
And Shelly and they didn't want to start, but
that was the problem in 08. That was a
Right.
problem in '08 because the lineup was going to be in '08, and I heard this years later. The lineup that they initially wrote on paper was Shelly to Sharon to Veronica to Keron. That in 2008, that would have been the most perfect lineup because Veronica was undoubtedly the best curve runner. Keron was peak Keron that time,
Right.
and Sharon is Miss Backstretch, we know that, and Shelly was the best starter.
Right.
Veronica decided that I've been running anchor from 2000, and whenever I am not going to run no curve, and it messed up the chemistry. They fixed it in 2012, but by that time only Shelly was in tip-top shape. The rest weren't at their peak. So we lost out there. I think now we are in a position where this is it. We have to get it right. And if you're going to get it right, Elaine has to run that curve.
As the same, they came together for the ceremony. Honestly, I think Sherika and Elaine definitely don't get along, says Sassy. May I go look? And on the might say she had the least speed, but she will shine. I mean, she is fast, don't get us wrong.
Yeah, we're not.
Fiona Williams is fast, but the longer leg, you would tend to want to put your second best athlete on the. It's hard to call Shelly second best.
Boy, it sounds weird.
As it says, Sherika can't anchor that unfair leg at all.
Sherika anchored in 2019. Sherika anchored in 2019. Remember that?
Yeah, the last one.
So, and Sherika has been anchoring 4x1 since high school.
Win 1 and 2, she go on to anchor the relay. It's as simple as that.
Well, if Elaine wants to anchor, then it is obvious that you're going to probably put Shelly on the curve and then put Sherika on the backstretch.
Or Sherika on the curve.
No, man. If once Elaine is not running that curve, Sherika has to go on that backstretch. If Elaine has an anchor, Sherika has to go on that backstretch because she's the strongest. She is the strongest, and she has the best probably speed endurance of all of them.
Yeah.
Put it this way now. Look at who has run backstretches in for other teams. Alyssa Felix, Marianne Jones, Justin Gatlin, Daphne Shippers. Those are the people who've been running backstretch because it is even if you look at Jamaica from a schoolboy's perspective or a high school perspective.
Definitely.
Yeah. Kevona Davis runs the backstretch for Edwin Allen. Chris Taylor used to run the backstretch for Calabar. You usually put your strongest athlete, or at least probably one of your athletes with their best speed distribution, on the backstretch. The problem with Jamaica is this: you can't go wrong with Shelly, Elaine, or Sherika running either of them because they're about the same. Yeah. So you can't go wrong running either of them. So we just know for a fact that Brianna's starting.
Brianna starting, there's no problem there. If Shelly says she want to run the anchor, Elaine says she want to run the anchor, the problem start again.
I think Shelly has done enough for people to know, listen, it doesn't matter. In 2019, when
technicality to avoid battle catastrophe, Shelly should do second and Elaine third.
Thank you. That's exactly what I said. Remember, Shelly won the 4x1, won the 100 meter in 2019 and ran the backstretch.
True.
So I don't think at this point in Shelly's career, Shelly's thinking.
And Sherika then for the curve.
Right.
It's flat.
And if Shelly's running the backstretch, then Elaine has to run the curve. Because Elaine is a better curve runner.
In 2013 as well. In 2019, sorry, the last one.
No, not in 2019. She ran the curve in 2015.
2015, yeah.
Right, she ran the curve in 2015. She didn't run the curve in the Olympics, I think did she? I'm trying to remember if she ran the curve in the Olympics. It was Veronica who started. Christiana started.
Anchor and Elaine gave to Shelly. Can remember seeing her screaming at Shelly to go. But I don't know if it was
that was 2015 because Veronica ran the curve in 2016 Olympics.
Okay.
Veronica ran the curve in 2016 Olympics. Elaine ran the backstretch, and Christiana started. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So Elaine could do either way.
saying I'm looking at that, not necessarily just the speed. No anchor for Sherika this time. No, sir. I would have want for the anchor. Elaine, them want for the anchor.
You have to think about the balance of the team.
And that
And
didn't
here's
go
the thing.
Second option, Brianna to Shelly to Elaine to Sherika.
That's how I have Mikey. That's how I have my team. That's exactly how I have my team.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it, remember, what people don't understand is this: Jamaica is probably the only 4x1 team, probably in
I'm
history.
just thinking it's a waste of Elaine and Nakara. Maybe I'm wrong.
You know what that sounds like? When people say it was a waste.
You want your
No,
10-6.
But listen, we're talking about distribution of speed, not just
Right.
being fast.
Yeah.
If you go 10-6, 10-6, 10-7, you're not losing anything. Actually, you're gaining because Sherika is known for topping rather than start. So in 10-7 shape, her top end is going to kick in because she has a running start. I still say that Sherika has the best top end of the three. Now, you get Shelly and Elaine to give you that excessive lead. It's less work for Sherika though.
Right. Yeah.
It's really less work. So you're not losing. The thing about this 4x1 team is we know Brianna is starting, but any way you want to put either of them, you're not losing anything.
You're not losing, yeah. It's
you
just
know, so it's not like
you get the batter around,
exactly.
That's just it. Because if I'm talking about Sherika is a 10-7 athlete in any year. That's a wonderful goal. That's
Sherika's
Olympic goal.
Sherika's 10-7-6 would have won in 2008.
Yeah.
It would have barely lost in 2012, and it would have won every other year except for 1988 and 2016.
So Sherika is no slow coach.
So it's not exactly. It's no slow coach. So
that's to say the glory must go to either Elaine or Shelly for the anchor.
I think this team.
Are you going for the gold? I don't know.
If you're going for the glory, if you're going for the world record, you have to take ego out of it.
Yeah.
You have to take ego out of it. And this is why America was so easy to get that world record, because everybody knew what they were. You were never going to see Tiana Bartiletta on an anchor. That was impossible. You were never going to see Bianca Knight running the backstretch. Allison was the backstretch runner. We knew that. Jetta was the anchor. We knew that.
Right.
It was either Knight going to start or Bartiletta going to start. Knight have the better, because Knight isn't that powerful of a runner. You're going to give her the shortest leg. You give her the third leg. And that's why America was able to break that world record.
Well,
you have to think about what is best for the team.
Sherika to anchor, because it's like they've been preparing her for that for a while. Anyway. Because even the last championship, she wasn't running 100 then, and she was already anchoring. So,
Exactly. So it's going to be it's just about putting your ego aside and running, putting the best team forward in the best positions to succeed. That's it. That's all it is.
What about Stephanie and McPherson? Can she get the gold?
She can. I have her as a dark horse to win. Because of the absence of so many. There's no Mila Weibo. Allison isn't her best shape. The two girls from Namibia aren't there. Sherika is not there. Nasir is not there. There's nobody else in your class.
And she's in the farm of her life as well. So
exactly. And you've basically beaten everybody you're going to face already on the circuit.
Right.
So that's what it is.
For a gold or a silver, at least for McPherson.
Right. For McPherson. My race of the championships, though, and even though it doesn't have a Jamaican in it, my race for the championships will be both 400-meter hurdles.
Hurdles, yeah. Everybody's saying that. Manja, you'll mess up today. I didn't see the replay. I didn't show the replay here, so I don't know what happened. But is it like him taking eye off of the hurdle or what? Because
give me a second, please.
Shelly and Elaine run left them in a relays already.
Um, Jahil Hyde's issue for me was I think he was just going too fast and it just messed up his cadence.
Mm.
Because you could see that he was out for a fast time. And it just messed up his cadence. It happens. Just glad to see that he's actually in good shape and looking to become a senior now and stop
Right.
living in the shadow of his juniors. Because I've said this before, I say that Jahil Hyde is the most talented Jamaican athlete I've seen as a junior.
Right.
And this is not just in track and field. I think he would have been good at any sport he did.
Mm.
You understand? Remember, this was a man who chose to run for Jamaica the same time he was called to play football for Jamaica. So that's how good he is.
Yeah.
But I am glad to see that he's finally, the mental space that he was in, he's no longer in. And he's finally in a position where he is accepting that, listen, because let's be real, Mark Master was in beating stick as a junior.
Right.
Now he can barely beat him. So and he changed his coach, changed his camp, and he's still young. We'll see what happens. A lot of potential. I'm actually proud, even though he messed up and hit the hurdle. I'm actually proud because what I have been seeing is progression
Right.
to being elite, and that is all I wanted to see from Jahil for years.
So that's the same.
And he's 24.
I pray she finally get the golds. I think speaking of Sophia McPherson, so much of them out and drop on the field. It's in like hurdle 7, says Sassy.
Yeah, man, I felt it for him because you could see that he was on his way to something special.
Yeah.
You saw that he was on his way for something special. It's just one of them things that where it just happened and you just have to say, well, brush off and come back next year and see what you can do next year. But this year I think it was the breakthrough year for him. And mentally it was his breakthrough year and he did it. Let him do it. You
All right,
understand?
guys,
So
we're gonna wrap up now. We're gonna wrap up now. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Jeremy is on fire. He have to come back.
yeah, man, just as long as we not work.
We're on different times because I'm on European time, which is like 7 hours.
Exactly. So,
but we'll see how it goes later, guys. I'm saying later.
I mean, if you want to, I think tomorrow is tomorrow is a holiday here, so I should be available.
Tomorrow's a holiday in Jamaica?
Yes, they don't celebrate the holiday on the Sunday, so Monday's a holiday, so I don't have to be at work tomorrow.
What Ladybug from New York, Ladybug is like, who is this Ras talking? We're talking track and field. Why are you gonna call in the man Ras?
I get it all the time, even at work and with my students. I get it all the time. So
we were talking track and field, Ladybug. So it's good because I'm going live tomorrow. It's my usual live day. And it's a holiday in Jamaica, so the people are going to come up. So. All right, that's good. So thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you.
No problem.
And Sassy, thank you. You were commentating. Thanks for the commentary, Sassy. You were there from start to finish. Sassy love our track and field, man.
Myself.
All right, we're going to watch the hurdles and see how the semifinals in the tour goes. And we'll be back. Jermaine, you need your own TV show. This episode felt like watching Sportsman. It's true, and him have the voice. Him sound like Spencer Darlington.
Hey, no do me that, man.
Yeah, a little bit.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm going live tomorrow at 8, which is like 1 o'clock Jamaican time.
All right. As I said, tomorrow is a holiday and it's a lock-off day too because it's curfew, so we ain't going nowhere.
Curfew, so, yeah, that's
so we.
All right. Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. Tanisha says you sound like the guys who works on CVM. So you sound like everybody. I don't know who work on CVM now. I left Jamaica like 20 years ago. I know they used to have Rowan Daly and other name.
I don't even watch I haven't watched CVM since I became an adult, and that's a long time now. So.
Long time.
Yeah, me used to watch CVM when they used to bring on Young and the Restless. From that, them stop to that, you know.
True, man. All right, guys. Thank you, guys, so much.
It was glad be. It was nice being here, and respect to all the people who listened and were commenting, and you know,
And
maybe
subscribe to my
I don't
channel,
know, boy,
subscribe to my channel on
definitely,
YouTube. It's Jamfet.
definitely, definitely. I'm going to do that right now.
All right, guys, that's our official analyst. We're gonna send me the bill.
Yeah, man.
All right, big up yourself. Thanks, everybody.
All right,
See you tomorrow.
no problem.
All right, cheers.